Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami Fort Lauderdale presents the Neil Rogers Show. To talk to Neil, call 567-0560. Toll free for Dave and Maryland. Or pound 560 on your cell phone. The opinions of Neil, his guests, callers, or anyone else on the show do not necessarily reflect those of WQAM, BC Lead Acquisitions, or the BC Broadcast Group. Now, Neil Rogers on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The media is sick and needs help badly.
There's a lady in town. She's an Orthodox Jew, and she needs to buy bread that is unleavened. And she's buying bread at 7-Eleven. All right. And the bread is wonder. And the bread is wonder. The bread is really wonder.
Sure makes me wonder what the hell's going on here. It's 10:01 at 560 WQM. Happy Monday to you. Happy Pesach. Happy Easter, etc. Et Can I just say one thing?
The media is sick and needs help badly.
God, you talk about a non-story getting whipped up into a frenzy in this town over nothing. Does anybody with a brain give a crap about some stupid ball game in Havana?
No.
No. I mean, when is this going to stop? Is it ever going to stop?
No.
No. Long after the bearded one is... Oh, and by the way, speaking of the bearded one, just what I need to hear is Geldy's opinion of what Castro looked like at the game yesterday, sitting between Peter Angelos and Bud Selig.
Hey, that's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, right. Just what I need to hear. Well, what does that mean? What is that? You know, hearing, some little pipsqueak pontificating about world events and world affairs and cultural exchanges. Yeah, that's what I feel about that. I mean, give me a break already, will you? Go get a goddamn nut transplant or something. Get out of my face. But, I mean, a non-story. And, Michael, I want to tell you, I'm going to name some names. Michael Putney, Dwight Lauderdale, and anybody else over there at Channel 10, which I only saw 2 or 3 minutes of it during channel surfing yesterday. I must have been lucky because the first thing I saw before the game started, which I did not watch any of the game, thank God, before that stupid baseball game started, I'm flipping over there and they got some reporter out there, they're breathlessly, we're at some neighborhood bar in Little Havana, and people have got very strong emotions about this, and most of them are really whipped up into a frenzy and are upset about this game being played. And so they go, there's maybe like 10 people sitting at tables in there, all seem to be having a pretty good time, talking about, I'm sure, anything but a baseball game, talking about getting laid probably. And we go over to some young guy with like a little facial hair, decent looking like a human being. And, well, what do you think about this big game? Well, I'm a big baseball fan, and I think, it's really good as far as cultural exchange between the U.S. and Cuba. I think it's good. Oh, okay, well, we don't want to talk to you anymore. Now back to you, Michael. I mean, did he ever pee on their parade?
Squirt.
All right, nice going, sir. Oh! Then I'm coming to work this morning, and, I'm in between CDs. Every single time I've punched up this station, I mean, Pat Riley's having a nervous breakdown. The heater folding like an accordion. Pavel Bure is out for the year, probably. Sean Burke is God. Saved us that game last night at a tie. Still hanging around for that playoff spot, maybe. NCAA Finals. The Marlins baseball season starts in a few days. There are more big things going on in sports. And what are they talking about again? A total, absolute non-story. Now, the one call I did here, because I punched it up a couple of times sitting in here, and you were witness, I wasn't listening, but 2 or 3, and every call that I heard was the same thing. I'm a Cuban American. Wow, let's give you a goddamn guayabera and guacamole, okay? Congratulations. Who the hell cares? Nobody cares, see? I hate to break the news to you, and I heard one great call, 10 to 10, I clicked it on. And here's an older Cuban guy. Great. I want to salute you, okay? If by some accident you're still listening, he says, you Anglo stations are starting to sound like Radio Mambi and all the hysterical Cuban media. With all your pandering and all your whipping up a frenzy, much ado about nothing. Let those 200 or 300 old farts who play in Domino Park with each other and with the dominoes, let them be the ones who are always screaming, nothing else but to hell with Fidel, okay? Let them do it. Anybody else with a brain, let's talk about what's going on in the real world today. I mean, the pandering. I mean, every chiropractor in this town is going to be overbooked for weeks now with all the bending over and the pandering that's been going on. with the local media. Unbelievable. And then, of course, the politicians, Lincoln Diaz Balart, we all know about him.
He's an asshole.
Oh, yeah, this wasn't the Orioles and the Cuban baseball players. This was Fidel Castro and Bill Clinton is what it was. I hate to break the news to you, Lincoln, Mr. Hyphenated, whatever you are. Hate to break the news to you. I think Bubba's probably got more important things to worry about right at the present moment than some stupid baseball game in Havana. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Like dropping La Bamba. That's what we're worried about. I mean, you know, maybe I'll be the only one because it happens all the time. I'm the only one that's got the balls, and I know I'm not making this up because I talk to a lot of people, especially at the ball games, different places, the hockey games. Talk to a lot of people, and virtually every one of them tells me the same thing about when it comes to this topic. They've had it. We're not just saturated, we're oversaturated. We got Castro coming out of our ears, coming out of our eyes, coming out of our rectums, and whatever other parts you got. We don't care anymore. He's not going anywhere. And to show you the height of hypocrisy, all you hyphenated, self-identified, so-called Cuban effing Americans who were calling this station this morning, and I'm sure Radio Mambi and every other goddamn station that would listen to your bullcrap, when the big dressed-up one was there with his gown and his beanie on his cap, when the Pope was there not too many months ago, and the media the same thing. From that Christiana Amanpour on CNN to every one of you other fakers on Channel 10, Channel 7, every channel that's ever been invented, you were over there sucking his ass, the Pope. Oh, yes, all these things are going to change, and the Pope, we're going to have religious freedom, and Fidel's going to get an awakening, and did any of that happen?
No.
No. Did it change anything?
No.
Not any more than a stupid baseball game yesterday changed anybody's opinion about that bearded asshole. Not one little tiny iota, and anybody with a brain knows it. And this town suffers. This town suffers enormously. Not from those couple of hundred people down there at Domino Park, but from a media that continues pandering relentlessly, from a spineless, gutless, pathetic media that continues pandering and whipping this frenzy up and making something out of nothing, out of absolutely nothing. They showed a story about a bunch of kids, 10, 11, 12, we have these cultural exchange programs that have been going on for 20 or 30 years now. A bunch of 10 and 12-year-old kids played baseball against a bunch of 10 and 11 and 12-year-old Cuban kids just a couple of days ago. Did anybody complain about that?
No.
We have musicians, we have artists, we have all kinds of cultural exchanges going on all the time, like we did with the Chinese, with the Russians, with everybody. No matter how brutal their dictatorship may be, we have people-to-people on a different level exchange programs that always have gone on. And I'm sure that on the 3rd of May or whatever the date is, when the Cuban team plays up there in Baltimore, I'm sure that Peter Angelos will supply plenty of cell phones and plane tickets to the Bahamas so that Joe Cubas can, pass them out. Maybe inflatable rubber rafts. Huh? Because that's what this is all about. And the same guys like Dan LeBastard who wrote that ridiculous article about the Marlins winning the World Series. And it wasn't the fact that the Marlins won or that it was Miami's team that won. It was that leave on. I'm a Cuban. You're like, we really care, Dan LeBastard. And by the way, get off our phone in there, Dan LeBastard. You jackass, you idiot, you simpleton. We all know about him.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. And now Saturday he's got this hysterical, why this is so wrong, and he's all emotional, and again fanning the flames. Why is it wrong? Where the hell did Levon grow up? Where did he get his education? Where did he get his training? Where did he develop and his brother as well? Where did they become great baseball players? It wasn't in Yugoslavia. It wasn't in Pensacola. It was in, don't say it. Oh no, I won't say it. What a pile of crap. Now, I could be wrong, but like I said, I think I'm speaking for the majority of rational, sane people who live in this town, who have had it, who are tired of all this super emotional, hysterical crap. I'm tired of hyphenated human beings. I'm tired of African Americans, Cuban Americans, Italian Americans, Jewish Americans, everybody who's hyphenated. I'm sitting there at the hockey game last night, and I saw some Jewish beanie babies with their yarmulkes sewn in their hair, which always makes me want to sit down and cry when I see that their parents forced them to walk around with this blemish on their head. I thought it was terrible to have to wear the tattoo, to have to wear something, on your body that identified you as fill in the blank, whatever. But now we got to have, I got to have the Jewish Beanie Baby. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if all of these 18,000, 19,000 people sitting here, if there were no labels, no Jews, no Gentiles, no anything, no Anglos, no Spics, no nothing. Wouldn't that be great? 10:15 at 560. I see we have a little more technical fuel here, but I'll get to that in a little while. I got a couple of really interesting stories. I think they're interesting and disturbing, but nevertheless. So Friday night, I'm at the Panthers-Nashville hockey game in the Mac Arena. It's before the game starts. I get there nice and early. I like to watch practice. I like to sit there, soak up the atmosphere of whatever's going on in there, that loud music. And, people are always, I sit right there on the end of the row in my section 101. And people always come up and say hi. They schmooze for a couple of minutes. We talk hockey, talk about whatever they want to talk about. Always very nice people. So I'm sitting there, and this fat lady, maybe it was the lady from Phoenix, I don't think so. She wasn't that fat. This fat lady, kind of like middle-aged, younger than I am, with her little daughter. She comes waddling up the stairs with a big smile on her face. "Are you Neil Rogers?" I said, "Yes." Said, "Oh, well, how come on your show you're always chewing out people that wear uniforms of other teams beside the Panthers?" I said, "I've never said that. Ever." "Oh, yes, I hear you saying that in the afternoon." I said, "No, the only thing I did was chew out phony fans who wear Red Wing uniforms because the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row, and all of a sudden these people pretend to be Red Wing fans. I don't care what anybody..." "Well, how come are you wearing that Maple Leaf jacket?" See, it may sound like a silly little story, but this is symptomatic of everything that's wrong with the world. "How come you're wearing that Maple Leaf jacket?" I said, "I've been a Toronto fan for 40 years. That's number one with me. Maple Leafs number one, Panthers number two." "Yeah, but they're not even playing here tonight. You should be supporting our team." I said, "I am supporting our team. I'm here and I'm rooting for our team." "Yeah, but you're wearing that." And she waddled away. Now, I must have been in a very mellow, very good mood, because ordinarily I would have told that effing bitch, I have to answer to you if I want to come here in a goddamn pink gown. If I want to come here dressed up like Santa Claus, what is that your effing business, lady? How do you like that? She's giving me a song to dance.
That fucking bitch.
Because I'm wearing my Maple Leaf jacket. Maybe she can elope with that jackass Mitch. They make a good pair together, those two. And I sat there dazed, thinking to myself, what kind of an asshole, what kind of a sad excuse for a human being comes up to somebody and giving me a mini lecture about how my attire should be. It's a good thing she wasn't there last night, seeing me there with my bedroom slippers on, because I had that little tiny boo-boo on my toe, and being diabetic, even though it's no problem, I just take no chances, okay? That I don't want to irritate it and have it turn into some infection and be hobbling around like a cripple, okay? Not into that. So, if it bothered you that I was wearing those tongs or whatever the hell those things, too bad. But here's a woman that makes the effort to come up there to me and give me a little lecture about how come I'm wearing that Maple Leaf jacket. And I thought to myself, sweetheart, you're what's wrong with the human race, and you're especially what's wrong with this town. You're perfect for this area. You're the epitome of what's wrong with this town. A bunch of nosy, I have no life busybodies running around like a bunch of yentas telling everybody else how to live. What a crock of chutzpah that is, huh? Lady, if I want to come there wearing a goddamn potato sack over my head, which might be an improvement, by the way, that's my business, okay? That's my effing business. Butt out of my life. Don't ever come anywhere near me again, or I'll tell you off like you've never been told, right to your face, okay? Like I said, I must have been in a very mellow mood. I was just sitting back there, waiting for players to come out for practice, just minding my own business. "How come you're wearing that Maple Leaf jacket?" "'Cause I feel like it, okay, bitch? 'Cause it's my goddamn business, and if I want to wear a Maple Leaf jacket, a goddamn New York Yankee cap, a goddamn Swahili outfit, if I want to wear a Husad Shako like David J. Neal from the Herald does, that's my business. Okay? Although why the hell does he wear that? And see, there you go. See, I take back what I said. He's got a right to wear that if he wants to look like a clown. He's got a right. No, seriously, he's got a right to do it. If Dr. Mark wants to go there with a big red nose on his thing there, like a Patch Adams nose, he's got a right to do that, even though we may laugh him out of the joint. Called Truth in Packaging. And then story number 2, okay? I don't even know how to approach this story. Because Friday we had, and all the 2 weeks that we've been in the studio, today's the beginning of week number 3, we've had some technical problems. We've had some phone problems. I mean, George's phone in there hasn't worked for over a week, couldn't communicate with the outside world. Our phone lines on here are suspect at best. Line 8 doesn't ring. They don't roll over. God only knows what's going on in here. And we've been reporting this to the powers that be, the engineers, the program director, this one, that one, day after day after day after day. And Friday, for me, that was just the ultimate. Friday was the last couple hours of Friday. That was as much as I was going to take. So I got home and I got on the phone with our general manager, Greg Reed. And this is no exaggeration. I'm going to tell you exactly what went down during that conversation. Now, before I go into that, though, let's flash back about 15 months to our first days on this station. After all the lies about, well, we're going to build you that studio, we're going to get you state-of-the-art equipment, we're going to, yeah. And then, first of all, when it come to find out that they weren't going to have the studio ready for December 30th for me to go back on the air, does he call me? In fact, this is after a series of times he evades taking my phone calls. This is a guy I have signed up with to come to work for, okay? Won't return my phone calls. Hiding like a scared child who just robbed the cookie jar. And he has the program director call me up to tell me, well, Duff wanted me to call you. We got bad news. Well, guess what? It is going to be ready, or we'll see your ass in court. And guess what? It was ready. It wasn't great, but it was ready. So then December 30th comes around after those nightmares about getting the equipment in, the last parts of which showed up the night before we were going to go in here. We had 7 months. Actually, we had 10 months because I signed the deal with them 3 months before I got my paid vacation from my buddy Bud Paxson. 10 months for them to get their crap together and do it right. Could they do it?
No.
So the night before, we're like on pins and needles. We're having spilkies over whether this studio is going to be ready, the one downstairs, for us to do a radio show on this station. Come in to do the show the next day. Where's Greg Reed? Where's our courageous leader? Where's Mr. Hotshot with his big expensive suits who's running around, hey, I'm the sports maven. Where is he? In Chicago. Turned tail and left town for a week, fearing the worst, knowing that there would be a series of technical screw-ups, which of course there were, but we worked through them, but not wanting to be here, not wanting to face the music. Spineless. That would be the understatement of the century. So now we flash forward to Friday in my phone call. And I call him up, and I wasn't screaming on the phone, but I was the next best thing to it, highly agitated over the fact that we're trying to do a show in here and our stuff don't work. And we have no communication with the outside world, and God only knows, who knows what's going on. And we're being told, well, the phone company's been alerted, they'll come in whenever they feel like it, basically, like taking a number in a delicatessen and standing online or in a bakery. Yeah, your number is 600, we'll get to you someday. It's not how it works in this business, but when you talk this business, you're speaking a language that this man doesn't speak, doesn't understand. And it was a phone conversation where he was saying goodbye almost before I was saying hello. Seriously. You could just see him weaseling down into the chair, skulking under his desk, and like, oh, I'll see ya. Well, Bob so-and-so from corporate is here today. He's an expert on the phone problem. I'll get right with him and I'll call you back. I will call you right back. You going to be at home? Yes. Okay, I'll call you back. I'll get back to you, Diana. So I'm sitting there watching Guiding Light or whatever I'm doing, picking my nose. By the way, 197 on the scale today. Blood sugar 74 this morning, no pills. God, am I finally doing it right. Oh. Thank you, by the way, Sonny. That was a parting gesture from my good friend Sonny Hirsch. I mean, he died of coronary artery disease. He died because he was fat. He was fat. In fact, the one article in the paper said that he used to say to guys, let's go have a meal before dinner. And he did. He liked to eat. He was a great guy, but he was fat. He died from fat. But I'll get back to that. So anyway, about an hour later, the phone rings about 10 minutes to 4. And I'm thinking, oh, here's Greg Reed calling me back. Maybe we got the phone company involved in this. We're going to solve those technical problems. And it's the voice of our program director, Duff Lindsay. Oh, Greg wasn't feeling well. He had to go home. And he wanted me to call you. Deja vu all over again. Unbelievable. Just a series of acts of cowardice. He can't face the music because he doesn't speak the language. Unconscionable. He wanted me to call you. Here's a man who had mono. And I didn't make that up, by the way. He was around a building potentially infecting people all week long. I kept saying, well, go home. You look, your nose is red. You got mono. Go home. Don't be taking a chance. It's highly contagious. But somehow he managed to work all the way through the week, every day last week, until about 3:30 on Friday when he was supposed to call me back, and he couldn't find a corporate guy who'd already left to take care of the phone problem. And rather than call me back and make up some kind of an answer, all of a sudden he got so ill that he had to go home and lay it off on the PD to call me and go, like that. I said, so where do we stand, Duff? And he went, like that. And this is the way things go down. So those of you out there think, Neil's always carrying on. I tell it to you exactly the way it goes on. Exactly. I don't have to embellish it. I don't have to exaggerate. I don't have to do anything but just lay it out there for you to smell and sniff, and recognize what it is. A big pile, a big smoldering, heaping pile. Well, guess what? Come to find out that the phone company actually got their ass in here. In fact, the guy was already here finally on Friday when I made the call. George's phone works today. Oh! Does this phone work yet? We don't know. We have no idea. There's one call on there. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But this is what we're up against here. We're up against the place where they don't speak the language at all. It's not part of the itinerary here. I mean, the fact that we have a lot of people in South Florida who refuse to speak the right language, maybe that kind of fits right in with the whole ambiance here at QAM. The man doesn't speak the language of radio in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't speak the language of doing business, of responding to things. I mean, anybody can be a schmoozer and a, good time. Charlie, anybody can do that. But taking care of business, like the song says, it takes somebody with a little concept who speaks the right language. Can they do it here?
No.
No. So I just mentioned that in passing as another astonishing chapter in the ongoing legacy of Greg Reed. I'm a big shot because I got the Marlins game. Anybody want to buy any Marlins spots?
No.
Oh, okay. By the way, don't forget this Friday we got that big Marlin exhibition game, 12:50, our final short show of the preseason.
560 WQAM.
And now we see the president getting ready to deliver his address. He's in the Oval Office with the gold drapes behind him, and he is preparing to address the American people.
Cue music, please. My fellow Americans, I have deployed our forces to put up a fight in a place called Kosovo, outside of Albania, where all the Macedonians go. Right there in Kosovo, we're gonna blow away.
All right.
Serbian Muslims in the KLA. Sloboda Milosevic is mad because his nickname is Slob. Leader of Kosovo, Bricas and Popchet, Dekani and Glagovac, Romania, Bulgaria, Croatia, Herzegovina, Serbia, Pristina, Adriatic Sea is near Kosovo. That's where I told NATO to point our planes and go, annihilating Belgrade and Sarajevo, and Hugo Montenegro.
And may God bless America.
Exactly. 10:31 at 560 WQAM. By the way, Rimmer bought dinner on Saturday at Ruth Chris. Mark that down, okay, boys and girls, because I don't think it'll ever happen again. Jeff Rimmer bought dinner at Ruth Chris. Boy, do I love that place. God. And I can go there and do the Atkins, 100% perfect. Perfect Atkins. And have a meal of a lifetime. The barbecued shrimp and a big, juicy ribeye done medium well. Oh, God. Broiled in butter. I will say this, if your stomach's a little sensitive to butter, don't go, don't get in the car too soon until you, yeah, that's right, do a good job. And a couple more. But God, is that a great place. And then, like some of that spinach au gratin on the side and some of the broiled mushrooms. Not too much, don't want to overload the carbs, but great. Just unbelievable. There you go. Thanks, Rimmer. Tell everybody about it, okay? Maybe we can send Pavel to a real doctor and get his ass fixed up. Which I could do like an hour just on that story alone, because they've been leading it. Didn't I tell you back when he got injured the second time? Didn't I tell this audience that all around the rest of the NHL they were reporting that Bure was out for the rest of the season? Didn't I say that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But here the organization keeps leading us down the garden path, and well, maybe he'll be ready here, and he was never going to be ready. His knee is swollen like a goddamn, it's swollen. It's pretty big on the knee too. So there was really never any chance he was coming back this year. But, of course, they don't want to tell us that. And as a result, I mean, you talk about luck. You talk about falling into a bucket of crap. Sean Burke playing 100 times better than he's ever played before, like last night. Unbelievable. How we get a tie, outshot 2-1 in a game like that last night? It's got to be a major miracle. And you can lay it right there in the hands of Sean Burke. Nice going, Sean. Oh! And Mark Parrish, that kid, a hell of a player, made his $325,000 bonus. And then reading the newspaper, Coach TM says, oh, Robbie played a great game. Robbie, you played the same clueless game you play every game. Clueless, useless. That drop pass he made, I saw the replay when I got home last night. He left a little drop pass there for Parrish, who made a great shot for the tying goal. What was the big deal with that? Oh, Robbie played a great game. More propaganda from the organization. They're trying to sell, you know, like Victor skating around in big circles. He'll never ever shoot it. He just, he don't want to shoot it, you know. And then, by the way, I don't want to mention any particular doctors on here, but you know the doctor at Cleveland Clinic that Pavel Bure went to after he got injured the second time that begins with an A, as in, how's it going, A? It was the same doctor that looked, remember when I had my heel spur?
Not the magnet guy.
No. Worse. At least the magnet guy does something. He may kid that no, that was a proctologist. This is a, you know, a leg, a specialist. A foot up your ass, a foot specialist. Remember what he did for my bone spur? Nothing. Oh yeah, you stand up against the wall and you shuffle this and, you know, hold your, in your hand, or whatever he was talking about. Nothing. And in 9 months, it went away by itself after the quack with the magnets nearly ruined my foot. So evidently he did the same thing for Pablo, so they had to ship him off to Alabama to some expert doctor with a banjo on his knee. Just like the other doctor at the Cleveland Clinic. What did he do for my whole kid? Did he do anything at all? No. He looked at me and said, oh, you're allergic to this drug. Was I really allergic to it? No. How can you look at somebody and know something? I mean, unless they got measles or chicken pox, something that's readily obvious, you know what I'm saying? Unless they got like a big lump on their nose, you know, it looks like a tumor. But how can you just look at somebody and say, oh, yeah, well, that's classic signs, you're right. Bop, 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 bop. I wouldn't let my dogs go there. But nevertheless. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line.
How come you're wearing that maple leaf jacket?
Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
Neil, did you watch Michael Putney yesterday?
I saw 1 minute of it.
I was screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
I had to call the Manasseh at least 50 times.
Uh-huh.
This guy was sucking some serious butt.
Yes.
And
the whole channel was sucking serious ass.
And as you could tell, I'm glad the objectivity was high because every one of those was a Cuban or Cuban exile.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had me on there, I would have said, yeah, it's a baseball game, so what?
Right.
Doesn't affect me one bit. But no, I have to mirror your sentiments. We are being force-fed crap we don't want to eat. It's like a kid when they make you eat the broccoli.
Right.
You go, I don't want to eat this.
Mm-hmm.
Eat your broccoli, and they shove it down your throat, and you resent it even more. This is what I feel about the Cuban topic. I don't care. Most people don't care. If these old crusty Cubans were to die, this thing would just
We'd have a party. We'd roast a goddamn pig and choke a chicken right in the front yard if they would only croak tomorrow. And leave the people there go on with their lives instead of being hyphenated humans.
I saw the game. I see an old crusty bearded fart. I'm like, is this what all the hoopla is about? Who cares?
It was a goddamn baseball game.
Exactly. And you know what? The same thing. Pope went over there. Life went on.
Where was all the big? Where were all the protesters? Where were all the people with the big mouth? Where were all the people in the media? The only people, like I said, the only people in the media had anything to say when the Pope was there. They were sucking both of their ass. Oh, there's the Pope with Fidel, and all these wonderful things are going to happen. None of which happened, which anybody with a brain knew they weren't going to happen.
Yep, absolutely.
The media is a disgrace.
There's no objectivity down. Everybody's kissing the Cuban ass down here. Nobody tells it except you like it is.
And you know something, sir? You're the only call on the board right now. See, I always do this. I'm the one that sticks my head on the goddamn limb of the tree. I open up a big mouth. I know there's millions of people that feel the same way that I do. You're the only call I got on the board again here. They could put 400 phone lines in here, and guess what? It ain't going to happen on this show. We're done. We're finished. We're finito, Benito.
No, Neil, but no. I don't know why people don't.
Well done. Like a roasted pig that's been on the spit too long.
But Neil, you got to understand that the majority of the people do share your.
Well, where the hell are they, sir? Where are they? I'm tired of not having any goddamn verbal support. I'm sick and tired of being the lone goddamn voice in the wilderness with a bunch of deadheads out there. That's what I'm sick and tired of, sir. And by the way, take off that maple leaf jacket. 5670. For God damn it, am I sick of this. We sure as hell had no shortage on that second-rate morning show this morning with one after another every time. I mean, I only turned it on about 4 or 5 times, but every time, I'm a Cuban American. Well, good. We'll buy you a goddamn St. Christopher medal, okay? Congratulations. I'm another hyphenated human being who refuses just to be a living and thinking, pulsating, breathing being. I can't stand people who have to I'm a Ukrainian American by way of Yugoslavia. Well, great. Great, we'll send your ass to Kosovo. Can't see how Milosevic likes your ass. Who cares? All these silly, phony, artificial labels that people have to use to divide each other, like the goddamn Irish and the goddamn Indians and the Pakistanis and the Jews in Israel and the Arabs and the Orthodox Jews and the not-so-Orthodox Jews and the super-Orthodox Jews. I'm the only goddamn voice in the world that's going to tell you the truth about this. It's all a pile of crap. Because everybody, when you come down, and that's a good example, by the way, when everybody it all looks the same, it all smells the same. So I don't care what kind of label you got attached to yourself, you're full of, okay, unless you just want to be a living and breathing human being. And stop trying to flagellate us with your Cubanness or Jewishness like those Jewish beanie babies at the game last night. Every time I see that, I'm not exaggerating, it makes me want to cry. I feel so sorry for those kids. You always see it with the young guys, teenagers, that they've been brought up this way and forced to walk around with this silly beanie on their head because their parents are forcing them, they're dragging them back into the dark ages. Huh?
You're never going to get laid wearing a beanie.
Oh, sure you will. If you got the right credit cards.
¿Ir al baño o darle cuerda a mi reloj?
Clean up, the brown stain in your underwear. Clean up, put on another pair. Clean up, the cum stains right here on your sheet. Clean up, whenever you eat your meat. Clean up, try some douche, it works the best. Clean up, whenever you have sex. Pandas.
1044 at 560 WQM. Jim Mandich will be here for Hank. I'm sure Hank's going to Sonny's funeral today, which is at 1 o'clock. So Jim Mandich, the Mad Dog, will be here 2 to 6.
Yeah.
6 to 7, we got the Bookster. Oh, boy, we're talking about him and Fat in a minute. And then, he'll be here 6 to 8:45 because we got the NCAA championship game tonight, 8:45 till a conclusion. And I was going to talk about how Michigan State gave Duke a pretty good run for the money, even though, of course, I didn't watch the game. But evidently, they gave them a pretty good run. But then Georgia was telling me about all the scandalous riots they had at Michigan State in East Lansing. So guess what? I didn't really go there. I went to, I went to RIT in Rochester. I didn't go to Michigan State. And it's embarrassing. But hey, that's just the American effing way, man. After any kind of a sporting event, win or lose, you have a big riot, you start, burning people's cars. That's the way to do it. Here's a mobile implantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir?
I'm going to tell it like it is.
Yeah.
All right. I don't see these people picketing for all those billion people over there in communist China.
Mm-hmm.
You go into a store nowadays, everything says China on it.
Right. And
I don't see anybody picketing Chinese products or anything.
Right.
And what was it, a couple of years ago, the Moscanosa family was all set to go in China and make a big deal, sign a big contract, an engineering contract, and then at the last minute they canceled it because of the bad publicity.
Mm-hmm.
But they were all set to make millions of dollars off of China.
It was bad for business, though.
That's right. But they were ready to make deals over there.
Yeah.
And also, the only reason they're upset is that they can't go in there now to China to buy up the land cheap from those poor people so they can build their big resorts and make more millions. They're watching the Canadians do it, the Europeans do it.
Maybe we could let Hyman Roth build some nice casinos in China. They got a lot of land over there.
That's right. But those wealthy Cubans here, if they had their way, they'd be over there right now buying up property so they can build resorts to pay those people minimum wage so they can exploit them.
Well, guess
too,
what?
whether
There's
it's Fidel or the
every hour on the hour.
All righty.
Okay. Paca Medianoche. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Still plenty of open lines. I see line 8 ain't going to be ringing anytime soon. It works outgoing, but it don't work incoming, okay? So we still got some work to do here on this phone situation. Confidence is riding very low on this whole thing with Bell South, as usual. And, of course, with management, which speaks, spineless, gutless. Oh, well, I'll call you back, but it'll probably be somebody else's voice on the phone. Because I just all of a sudden got ill. After being around spreading germs all week long, all of a sudden my spinal problem, acted up. Shouldn't they make another Spinal Tap Part 2 about this place? Here's Hialeah. Hello. Hialeah. Press the button, dummy. Hialeah.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Why are you always ripping the Cuban, man?
Meaning what?
Yeah, always, every time.
Meaning what? Wait,
Calling-
can you say something intelligent about what I'm talking about, or are you just going to call sounding like some kind of a mouth breather?
Calling specs. We're not. What do you?
What do you have to say, sir, about what I'm talking about today? I didn't call
You are
anybody.
so tired of the
I
Cuban
talked
Americans.
about what is it?
If you are so tired of Cuban Americans, why don't you go back to Israel?
No, I'm not going. Oh, why don't I go back to Israel? Well, guess what? I'm not from Israel. How do you like that?
Well, but you're a Jew bastard, right?
Yeah, I'm a Jew bastard. That's right.
Jew bastard.
A Jew bastard.
Maricon.
And maricon, that too. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, he ran out of material and ran away and hid, just like Greg Reed. There you go. Jew bastard. Maricon, Jew bastard. See, like I said before, Cubans basically got 3 words. That's all they know. Maricon, culo, and pinga. That's it. No, seriously, that's the Cuban. If you're here in town, you're brand new, you want to learn Spanish, those are the only 3 words that mean anything in the Cuban community. Maricon, culo, and pinga. Those are the only 3 words you'll ever have to learn, and you'll get along just fine. What do you like? You're laughing because you know it's true. Jess. 567-0560, pound 560 on a mobile 1 line. Here's a mobile in Palm Beach Gardens. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Hey, listen, what's the story with this baseball game anyway? I mean, are they trying to, like, bridge some political gaps, or are they trying to recruit baseball players?
Let me say it again. It was a baseball game. It had nothing to do with politics, just like playing ping pong with the Chinese. It had to do with people, okay? Can you understand it? When they put the 10 and 11-year-old kids over there to play baseball against the 11-year-old and 10-year-old Cuban kids, it had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with people. Are you capable of understanding that, sir?
Oh, absolutely. I was wondering if they were down there recruiting baseball
Well,
players.
of course they are. And when they go there to Baltimore on May 3rd or whatever the date is, like I said before, Joe Kubas has already said the only way he won't be there is if he's dead. So he's going to be there with his bunch of plane tickets to the Bahamas and a bunch of cell phones so they can call him and they can go pick them up and he can sign them like El Duque and like Levon. And we can go through this charade again of how wonderful that is because they're Cubans, but now they're here and there are Cubans.
It's almost like selective,
Selective hysteria, just like with the Pope. Like I said before, when the Pope was there wasn't a peep about the Pope except for me. There wasn't a peep about the Pope. Even little
I don't think anybody really cares about him.
That's right. Screw them all.
Yeah.
And have a
hey,
great
listen,
day.
Neil.
Yes.
Neil.
Yes.
Take care.
Okay. I thought there was going to be something profound there at the end. Was there?
No.
Yes, it was. 567. How come you always rip it on the Cubans? You know something, sir? It's only the segment of the Cuban population in this town that I'm sick and tired of, and so is everybody else here who isn't part of that population, but they don't want to say it. And I'm giving them the opportunity to say it once and for all, and they'll never get the message across to the media because the media in this town are a pile of amateur hour assholes. I used to think Michael Putney was a pretty bright guy, but you know something? He got sucked into that crap yesterday. They made a fool out of him. They made a jackass out of you, Michael. Michael Motorcycle. They made you into a jackass. Pandering, herniatically, pandering. And oh, well, you know, before they came to Cuba, they fixed up all the streets before this baseball game. Well, guess what? Every time we have something here in this town, they take the homeless people off the streets. They round them all up. They put out all the nice stuff out there. They clean up the city. They get the garbage off the streets. They get the dead chickens off the lawns in certain parts of town. They get the Pampers boxes off town in Little Haiti, and they clean it all up. And then as soon as everybody's gone, as soon as the big event is over, we're right back to where we were before. So who are you kidding, Michael Putney? Talk about the pot calling the kettle purple? Like Tinky Winky, speaking of purple? Yeah, we're sick of it. We're sick of living in a goddamn banana boat town with a bunch of corrupt goddamn banana boat politicians who the more corrupt they are, the more beloved they become, and the more often they get reelected again over and over again. Not because they have any idea what the hell they're doing. That's why Miami and Dade County are both basically bankrupt. Because, God forbid, there should be like a real living and breathing place with real tourists that come in here instead of banana boat people and French Canadians that nobody else will let come into their town. That's what we got left. That's tourism in South Florida, is people that they won't allow to come anyplace else. In fact, if you look on a passport of any frog, no, seriously, the only place that will stamp is South Florida, especially Broward. Any place else, oh no, get back on the plane. We can't let you in here. And don't go to Ontario because they'll kick your ass out there too, by the way. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello?
Yeah, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
I'm a member of the Cuban population, man, but I'm like I don't care, man. I mean,
You're
I was born
the
here.
Cuban population.
I was born here, but I mean, you hear all these people running around and care if they play. I don't care if they play baseball, football, basketball,
or even play with each other.
If he doesn't go, I mean, they're bitching about baseball. They didn't bitch when they took their homes 35 years ago. They just packed up and left. Now they want to come and bitch here?
Turned tail and ran like a bunch of spineless cowards, like a bunch of Greg Reeds.
And they sit here and they try to force it on us. You know, I'm American, man. I live here. I got to worry about this country. Right. What happens 90 miles offshore.
Okay. We second that emotion. So he said the F word, okay? You know, they're a little bit emotional, a little bit hot-blooded. 5670560, pound 560 on a mobile one line. I'm going to say it one more time. Those of you spineless cowards out there who don't want to articulate the way you feel about this whole thing and about the way the media keeps flagellating this town. Every time another one of these episodes comes along, we've been through it 50 trillion times in this town. Where are you? Where are you people with some balls, with some brains? Everybody's got to be a part of, I'm an Italian-American. I'm a Croatian-American. I'm a Siberian. I'm a Mongoloid idiot American. What the hell is that? When are we going to stop with this crap already with the hyphenated humans? I'm sitting there, like I said, in that arena last night, and there were two things I was thinking about, basically. First of all, the Jewish Beanie Baby kids there with the yarmulkes in their heads. And the second one was all the fat people. You know, if you ever want to see, I mean, America's like we're all dying on our fat. And I'm going to tell you, Sonny's death, something good's got to come out of every tragedy. And if nothing else, knowing that he died of coronary artery disease and because he was fat and his arteries were doing a clog. That's going to, I mean, I've talked a lot the last, 100 years about losing all this weight. Like I said, 197, it's the first time, and God only knows how long I've been under 200 on that scale. I guarantee myself, not you, because I owe it to myself, not anybody else, I'll never see 200 pounds on a scale again. Ever. Because, you know, you can eat a meal any goddamn time, but is it worth dying for? Has anybody ever had a meal that was so good that it was worth dying for?
No.
No. Effing no. George has just told me about the wildebeest who works here, that fat kid. Wrapped his car around a pole because he fell asleep at the wheel over the weekend. He's okay, thank God, but the car's totaled. Lucky he's not dead. See, because when you're fat, you know, you have these sleep apnea things and all these things. That it's hard to even stay awake because your body is choking on its own fat.
All of these things.
That's right. And I sit there in my seat at the arena, and I feel like Karen Carpenter. I'm serious. There are so many, and you know something? You're going to die from your fat. There are people waddling around who can barely walk. They're so fat. And that's the American effing way, baby. Fat. Fat makes you sick, and getting sick makes you dead. There you go. Not complicated at all, boys and girls. It makes you dead. I mean, I'm on a wild crusade. I'm on a one-man crusade. Not for anybody else, for me. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
These people always stole my thunder. Let's give Cuba favored nation status like we do China. When they have their crisis, like North Korea, let's feed them. Why are we just selecting Cuba?
Because we're pandering, that's why.
Because
Let me say it again, sir, because we're pandering.
0.2% of the population is from Cuba, so we got to...
In America, that's right.
Because, you know, let's just forget the crap. Now these people, because they had their people shot down, they're trying to make AT&T and MCI give the money to them instead of the Cuban telephone company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our politics of this country don't make sense at all.
That's right. And in this town, it's hopeless. It's altogether hopeless. I mean, you know, if they could come and round you up right now, they'd come and take your ass away just for saying that, you know.
Have people threaten the Baltimore Orioles or even you for even saying what you say?
Exactly, because they believe, you know, freedom is fine as long as they believe you say what they like.
Hey, Batista is great.
Okay, pal.
That's what they remember.
Okay, we're tracing the number.
All right.
Okay. Give that number out on the air. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Oh, he's a bearded, ruthless dictator. Wow, what a bulletin, baby. Wow, is that big news. He's a terrorist. He's a thug. Wow, what a revelation, huh? Even Paul and Peter and all those other goyim never saw revelations like that. You see, you have to isolate yourself from all the insanity because the world is a crazy, crazy place. Like that song says by Marmalade, the world is an awful place to live, but it's the only thing we got, okay? So you make the best of it. Your D&H, you make the best of it, and you try to avoid all these insane people. These intolerant, crazy people persecuting each other with their religions. I mean, I got a crazy woman at the arena trying to tell me what kind of outfit I'm supposed to be wearing in my seat there. She's telling me what kind of goddamn jacket I'm supposed to be wearing. This crazy bitch. Talk about intolerant. Go mind your own business, you fat bitch, and lose some weight, by the way, before you croak. Comes waddling up the stairs. That's what we got in that arena, by the way, the waddlers. I'm serious. They must have given preferential treatment to all us fat people to get in that place.
Well, stay in school. Don't go out on your own. 'Cause there's a whole lot of stuff you just can't do at home. Search all around, but you won't see. Yeah. E-E-O with the G-E-D. Well, nothing compares to the marvelous feeling of making butter patties stick to the ceiling, smoking in the bathroom, making out in the hall, or hitting a fat kid with a speeding dodgeball. Yeah, I remember that. And throw a paper wad with a fire alarm, blow up the toilet with a cherry bomb, dissect a frog in biology class, find yourself a nerd and where'd you hear that? Well, you'll be a hit in chemistry when you make a class about your LSD. Start a food fight, you milk out your nose. When you go to school, where anything goes. So stay in school, don't go out on your own. 'Cause there's a whole lot of stuff you just can't do at home. Search all around, but you won't see a CEO with a GED. Search all around, but you won't see a CEO with a GED.
Well, Greg says in spite of that, he's going to work on his GED. It's 11:03 at 560 WQAM. Open lines, baby. Still several of them here, which just amazes the living snot out of my fat body. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. They absolutely will not open their mouth and speak. Here's Miami. Hello.
Good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Okay.
Neil, the problem that you're speaking of seems to me to go back to something even more basic. This is now and has been for some years a one newspaper town.
Yeah.
The problem with that...
By the way, there was Tom Fiedler on there from the Herald sucking around with Michael Putney, pandering and pandering. He's probably got a broken back today.
I was just about to get to Fiedler and...
little twerp.
Fiedler and whatever that other disgrace's name is. In major markets, there was traditionally in America 2, 3, sometimes 4 competing newspapers.
That's back in the days when Americans were smart enough to read a newspaper. That's all gone in the past, sir.
As we had,
all in the past.
Well, it still exists, for example, in one city that you're particularly fond of, Toronto.
Well, yeah, but that's a real city. That's not in this country, in case you haven't noticed.
Notwithstanding.
Right.
When one is living in a one newspaper, one media town, only one point of view gets promulgated, as it were, and gets passed down through all of the other filters. And when that particular newspaper is the main source of feeding the quotation marks political reporting on television, as pitiful as it is,
yeah,
that compounds the problem.
Yeah, but Michael Putney and the people at Channel 10 don't work for the Herald, even though they have an incestuous relationship, and the rest of the media don't work for the Miami Herald. The fact is that all of the media, almost unanimously in this town, are bending over backward, and they always do it, every single time. When the Pope was here, it was a wonderful thing. It was great. They had no problem with his sitting around sucking up to Castro. No problem. It was a great thing, and wonderful things which were going to happen, which we never did, and we knew were never going to happen. It's the entire media in this town are so terrified by these people that sit in Domino Park playing with each other all day who make a lot of noise. You know, they showed the demonstration they had out there the other day. There were like 100 or 200 people out there with their signs, and most of them older than Methuselah.
All right, not being as
And by the way, speaking of Toronto, by the way, now you know as well as I do, you've got a gigantic Chinese population, a gigantic Middle Eastern, Pakistani, and Indian population. You got English-speaking Canadians. You got a few frogs in there that sneaked in. Everybody gets along. There is none of this that goes on.
Actually, Canadians have pretty much learned to sublimate, or been forced by political correctness to sublimate this kind of thing.
Other than the Quebec business, which they ought to slice that off the map and let them float out into the sea. Other than that, everybody gets along.
Not being as used to speaking publicly as you are, I'm not quite as adept. But let me make the point. Putney is a graduate of the Miami Herald School of Thought, which will only become exacerbated now that Alberto Ibargüen is the publisher. I don't believe that the Herald ever met an illegal immigrant it didn't like. I don't.
Well, they're not too crazy about Haitians, though. They don't buy any newspapers.
Look at the front page. I think it was Friday or Saturday. With a color photo, with everything going on in the world, the bottom of the front page, including a color photo of some illegal immigrant that had falsified his papers. It was sent back to Haiti by the INS. Now a major story supported by the Herald. I think that the Herald actually, though, is not out of touch. It's people like you, like me, and other
kind of us,
other normals. And if anybody calls me an Anglo, I'll shoot them. That are that are now out of touch.
Okay. I'll see you around, eh?
How did you know I was a Canadian?
Have a great day, eh?
Okay.
See you on Church Street, not? See ya.
Bye.
All right. There you go. See those English-speaking Canadians, man? They're the salt of the earth. They got a brain. That's why, they may come here for a little while, but they get the hell out. They get the hell out of this place. See, this, like I said, it could be paradise. But you people in the media, just like with casino gambling, brainwashing. Oh, the sky's going to fall. The world's going to come to an end. You're so full of crap, man. It's coming out of every pore in your body. If we only had somebody in this town, like the guy said, if we had a real newspaper, do we have one? No. We got 2 horseball newspapers, 2 right-wing fascist, and by the way, speaking of right-wing, school prayer issue revisited in Dade. Some no speaking English on the school board, Marta Perez. Oh, yeah, let's get prayer back because we got so much violence. And Marta says children who have a religious upbringing seem to do better morally. I guess she missed all those stories like in Arkansas and all those other kids who, ran around shooting everybody, all with their big religious upbringing and ran to their pastor to see, what do I do now? You must have missed those stories, Marta. Let's instill all of our youngsters with a lot more fairy tales, okay? Let's keep living in the big lie. Oh, he's in heaven now. What are you getting excited about, goddammit? Because actually I have a little bit of energy today. Blood sugar is 74, weight under 200. I'm doing it.
Oh!
Got a long ways to go, about 30 pounds, but I'll do it. Finally, after all these false starts, after all these premature squirt evaluations. Finally going to do it, in spite of these bastards. And don't be sending me any more Smarties, any more goddamn fish food, any more food of any kind. Refined carbohydrates, take it in. Because if you do, I'll rip you on the ass. I'll do a whole show on anybody that tries to send me any of that crap that all you people are choking and dying on. What a jackass. I'm going to say it very proudly. I admit to being a fool, an idiot, a moron, a jackass. Here I'm a diabetic and I'm eating all that goddamn Ben & Jerry's ice cream and all that candy, all those Smarties. I'm an imbecile. I'm a jackass. I'm an idiot. I'm masochistic. I'm suicidal. I must be. But while I still got a breath, because I'm going to wait for a doctor, by the way, to save me from this, is that going to happen?
No.
Oh, my God. How are those test results coming, Dr. Mark, from 2.5 weeks ago? The rest of those results. They're coming in slow. Isn't that what he said? They're coming in slowly. In fact, write them down on my tombstone. Oh, yeah, that, whatever.
There was an old farmer who lived on a rock. He sat in the meadow just shaking his fist at some boys who were down by the creek. Their feet in the water, their hands on their marbles and playthings, and at 4:30, there came a young lady. She looked like a pretty young creature. She sat on the grass. She pulled up her dress and she showed them her ruffles and laces and white fluffy duck. She said she was learning a new way to bring up her children so they would not spit while the boys in the barnyard were shoveling refuse and litter from yesterday's hunt, while the girl in the meadow was rubbing her eyes at the fellow down by the dock. He looked like a man with a sizable home in the country with a big fence out front. If he asked her politely, she'd show him her little pet dog who was subject to fits, and maybe she'd let him grab hold of her small tender hands with a movement so quick, and then she'd bend over and suck on his candy so tasty made of butterscotch, and then he'd spread whipped cream all over her cookies that she had left out on her shelf. If you think this is dirty, you can go yourself.
11:16 at 560 WQM. Jim's Mad Dog Mandates this afternoon, 2 to 6 for Hank Goldberg. Then at 6 o'clock we got the Bookster till NCAA Championship basketball time, 8:45 tonight. Eddie K after the game. If he don't lose his ass. Oh, he will lose his ass? So, by the way, speaking of sizable whatever, so I was watching Panther Weekly a little yesterday by accident, saw the last 5 minutes of that, and they were like doing some interviews in the Panther locker room after one game, and there was Ray Whitney stark naked, but only like from the above the nipples to the, with that gold chain around his neck. There you go, Ray. Oh! God. He does have a pair. So anyway, and of course, last night at the arena, by the way, they showed the first half of that show, and I was sitting there salivating, waiting for the last half. They cut it off. They want to get some of us too excited there in the Mac Arena, showing Ray Whitney naked again. So anyway, as they're showing this, then they interviewed Radek Dvorak, and I see standing in the background Robert the Grim Reaper from QAM.
For Saturday.
Yeah. And I said to him, I said, God, you're in there with all those guys naked? Yeah, and I said, well, how big was Ray when he said about 9 inches? Huh? I said, that's not what Christina Moore told me. She said,
we're looking at 10 inches.
Yeah, so there must be a discrepancy there, huh? Take me to your ruler. Robert the Grim Reaper standing there with a bunch of naked guys in the shower. Boy, little do they know. Well, he's confused. He's still searching for an identity. Maybe when he gets to be like 28 or 29. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. Mobile in Miami. Going once. Okay, long gone. Here's another mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil. How you doing?
Okay, sir.
Listen, it's funny how this Cuban situation brings out the best in people, isn't it? On both sides. Not only the Cubans, but also, all these people calling in, there's bigots calling in.
What bigots have we had?
Well, the gentleman that just called a few...
You mean the one that called me a Jew bastard?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then not only, also on the Cubans and, what is it with these people? They're just sour people. They're probably calling in from Broward. They were kicked out of Dade.
No. I used to live in Dade too, sir. I wasn't kicked out of Dade. I moved out. I got out of there like a bat out of hell.
Why did you move out?
Because it was getting crowded. It was getting no speak English, and it was getting dangerous. There was a lot of crime.
And I'm just saying that, and those are the people, and they have a big problem. And
no, sir. Let me explain it to you, okay? Yeah. People, when they live in America, if I visit, as you know, I do a lot of traveling. If I want to visit a foreign country, I do so voluntarily. I don't want to live while I'm in the U.S. I don't want to live in a foreign country.
Well, but what is the U.S.? The U.S. is a melting pot. That's all it is.
Yeah. So let me ask you. When's Dade County going to start melting?
Oh, well, it started melting a long time ago. Don't get me wrong. I'm not siding with any side here. I'm just trying to say.
Why not? Don't you have an opinion?
Oh, I have. Definitely have an opinion.
Well, what is it?
And my opinion is that both sides are bigots.
Well, there's bigots all over the place, but because you think this baseball game yesterday was flagellated by the local media doesn't make me or anybody else a bigot.
It's flagellated by everybody.
No, it was not. No, it was not. I said on Friday here on his show, I said, I'm not going to talk about it. It's much ado about nothing. I said, if anybody calls about it today, I'm going to hang up on them.
Well, I'm calling about the situation, and I don't give a crap about the game. I don't give a crap who won.
Right.
Okay? All I care about is the people that are calling up, ranting and raving, honking at China about this. Get a life. I
invited them to call up. I want people to start opening up their mouth and talking about what a bunch of panderers the media are here. Maybe we can, tone them down a little bit. It's old. It's stale. It's nauseating.
Definitely stale, Neil. But you do a good job there, man.
Okay.
I enjoy your show.
Hasta que Yermitas. Okay, there you go. We finally got him. See what I'm saying? Culo, maricon, pinga. That's all. That's a very simple vocabulary. Then we can all get along together. That's what Rodney King said. Oh, don't start with the Schwarzers today. Leave them till tomorrow. I'm an African American. I'm a Cuban American. No, you're not. You're a goddamn person, okay? Be a frickin' person already, assholes. Man, so easily manipulated. When are you going to grow just a little teeny tiny pair? We got like 8 million geldies out there. Little simpering wannabes, like want to be a real human being, but can't quite, motivate themselves, can't get the cojones to do it. Got 50 million Greg Reeds running around there, spineless, gutless, running and hiding. Can you believe that story? Well, sure you can, because you know it happens all the time. Well, I'm going to call you right back. Phone rings. Well, maybe it was Greg Reed doing Duff Lindsay's voice. You think that could have been a little impersonation there? Oh, let's do the fake voice in South Miami. Here's South Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
I just
fake
want
voice.
to slightly disagree with you.
Fake voice.
No.
This is your
Listen,
real
I
voice?
lived on the West Coast for many years.
West Coast of what?
In California.
Yes.
And it was well known that Vancouver was given the nickname of Hongkouver. I'm sure you're familiar with this because of so many of the Chinese immigrants
Right.
moving there
And?
from Hong Kong.
Right.
There was a problem that was
Hung?
presented.
Are they hung in Vancouver?
They
what I
may
hear.
be. Well, it was also known as
They're hung like a moose.
the Amsterdam of North America.
That's Toronto is the sister city of Amsterdam. It is. I didn't make that up. Well, see, the guy's laughing. It is.
It may be the sister city, but in fact, Vancouver.
Well, Vancouver, as far as weed is concerned, is
right.
the sister city, yeah.
Is definitely the spot.
Yeah, man.
But recently, Dateline gave a story
Spot rhymes with
on a problem that was occurring in Vancouver and some of the outlying areas where many of the transplants from Hong Kong.
What are those chinks starting up again?
Well, what they were doing was buying up into residential areas and actually knocking
See, the good
down.
Chinese people moved to Toronto. The troublemakers moved to Vancouver. That's right. The good chinks are in Toronto. I love them.
Well, they have families of maybe 10 or 20 people in the family.
Who does?
And most of the new residents come
black
from
people?
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And what they would do
A lot of those black people have trouble with addition, but they sure can multiply. But anyway.
Well, they would knock down a house and something, of course, that, we would look forward to someone moving into
now you're talking about Haitians in Miami. We don't have to go
No,
to
no,
Vancouver.
no.
Let's
Let
go
me
down here.
finish, Neil.
We got 50 family houses.
No,
They're about 3 by 5.
They are
a lot of
moving
diapers,
into...
a lot of Pampers boxes out there on the street.
No,
but anyway.
No, it's not like that.
Sure, that's the Haitian way of this town, man. Haven't you ever seen Little Haiti? You'll hate it.
They were actually, doing just the opposite. They were moving into, say, areas such as what would be considered...
What is it? So what are you saying? I mean, let's get to the bottom line on it. I'm trying to spice it up a little bit, but between that voice
actually,
and
what
material.
they're trying to accomplish, Neil,
Yes.
is
What
they
were
were
they trying to accomplish?
They're actually bringing up the residential areas
Right.
in terms of...
Well, that's what I've been saying for weeks now. Let's get some Chinese people down here. All right, thank you, sir. That wasn't a phony voice. He just got a bad voice. Why do you always think people have got a fake voice if they got a crappy voice? He can't help it. He's got a crappy voice, right?
Yeah, man.
Leave him alone already. They were bringing up the hood. Let's get some Chinese people and plant just a few families in Liberty City, in Overtown, in Alapata, in Plantation Acres, any place, huh? I'd be proud to have a bunch of Chinese people in my neighborhood. And who the hell wouldn't? They're educated. They're bright. The guys don't have any hair on their chest. I mean, what more could you want? Huh? Seriously, what's wrong with that? Let's get some educated people in here instead of a bunch of superstitious people choking chickens on their front lawn. Let's have a little variety here. Instead of just, we got 10 families, including my buddies up there at Emerald Coast. We got 10 families. They run a Chinese restaurant. Everybody else, we can't find them. Let's get some Asian people in here, goddammit. Oh! You don't see no Chinese people running around screaming and hollering and carrying on all over America because they're, diddling with China and buying all those real cheap, crappy products. Oh, you're buying them? 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Hey, for a long-time listener, first-time caller,
All right.
Colombian. My name's Leo.
Colombian. Here's another Colombian, folks.
Oh!
Now we're talking. Now we can get some good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Wrong being Colombian, Neil. There's nothing wrong with that.
I love Colombians.
Oh, I know. They got some good weed over
Even
here.
better than the Chinese, I would say.
Hey, Neil, check this out. I've been wanting to call for a long time, right? But my boss,
Colombians are a very sensual people. But anyway, go ahead. I don't want to get into that.
big-time douchebag, my boss is, right?
Mine too.
Yours too. And,
Mine is a
and
spineless
and
douchebag.
he's not in the office today, so we're calling today. It's just a coworker and I. We're here in the office.
Good.
Listen, I was talking to him the other day about the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
And he says it's the worst diet I could do.
Why is that?
You believe him?
Well, what does he know about it?
He's just a douchebag himself. He's
So
another
is
Colombian.
he some kind of a diet expert?
Yeah, that's what he thinks. He's another Colombian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what he is.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
An asshole, huh?
Right. I said that you didn't. I don't want to jeopardize your job. Your boss is an asshole. I'll just keep saying it.
Hey, Neil, check this out.
Yeah.
Can you play one of those bits for me? Actually, it's for my boss. He really loves that cowboy dick.
Yeah, I bet he does. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, we have a couple open lines on there. I want to keep these things pumping here today, for crying out loud. Have an opinion. Have something to say. They're trying to, and of course I didn't watch the game yesterday either, and probably most of you didn't either. Stupid baseball game, an exhibition baseball game. But the way the media acts in this town, like this was one of the great events. And let me say it again. How come we don't have anybody saying, including my friends in the media, when the Pope was over there sucking Fidel's bearded ass, that was great. Oh, it's wonderful. Let's cover it with a blanket. Let's go over there and stroke them both, one with each lip. But now because Baltimore goes down, let me ask you, seriously, who is better known in the world? Who's supposed to be like a very important figure, a spiritual leader of almost 1 billion people all over the world? The Orioles, Peter Angelos, Cal Ripken, or like maybe the Pope, huh? Even though we know he's got some bad weed over there. That's why he's acting like that. And a bad dresser on top of it. Maybe somebody in the media could explain to me the difference between the way you people sucked his ass and covered it like a bunch of cheerleaders with the pom-poms, and then when a ball game goes on, it means absolutely nothing. Except Joe Kubas will be able to smuggle in a couple more players out of Baltimore. Then all of a sudden you're trying to whip everybody up into a frenzy in this town. Like we don't have enough real problems. Like those Jewish Beanie Baby guys at the hockey game.
Why are you airing shit like this?
Hey, what you eating?
Cowboy dick.
Hey, buckaroos, there's nothing like a little cowboy dick ice cream.
I want something. I've got a craving.
Yeah, well, how about some cowboy dick?
Sure.
Oh, the cowgirls love my cowboy dick. And I should know, because I'm cowboy dick.
I like my cowboy dick with some nuts.
No problem, partner. Introducing Cowboy Dick, with nuts so big you can hardly wrap your lips around them.
My youngins love cowboy dick.
Ma'am, fill your posse with my cowboy dick.
Oh, cowboy dick.
Here, try it. How is it?
I can't talk. My mouth is full of cowboy dick.
She's smiling. She's smiling. Fill your mouth with my cowboy dick. Available in your grocery freezer. Ooh, once you've had your first cowboy dick, you won't ever go back. When you're filled with cowboy dick, you'll scream, woo!
11:32 at 560 WQM. Anybody ever buy a private box to get their mail in like I'm doing now for the last several months, and then discover that certain things aren't showing up, even things that have been signed for by people that work in those places, and you look in your box and guess what, it isn't there, and you call them up and they say, oh, I'll have to check into it. There's a whole line of people there. I'll get back to you, Diana. See, I've never mentioned which place that is. But when things that are signed for by somebody, like that were delivered United Parcel, that they have somebody's signature and the date and time when it was delivered, and they mysteriously don't show up in your mailbox, and like when your Wall Street Journal, which I do throw in the, it's a right-wing piece of crap which doesn't do you any good no matter how many it's useless. Even though I do throw it in their wastebasket every day. When it starts showing up like maybe once out of every 7 or 8 times it's supposed to every day, and you start wondering, what's going on over there? You know what I'm talking about? Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pronto.
What is it?
Pronto.
Tanto?
Pronto.
Tanto pronto, yes. Pronto.
Okay. How you doing?
Okay.
This thing with Cuba, I think it's a big show. That's my opinion. And you got to live life every day. All right?
Yeah.
I'm out of material.
Okay. Well, he said it was going to be pronto, tanto. That's how you answer the phone in Italy, dummy. What do you give me a look? Pronto. That's how you answer the phone. You better brush up on your Italian, mister, for a group of people that stole everything they ever got from the Romans, including that fetish with the rectum. 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Ooh, that's a hard act to follow there, Neil.
He had some great material. Unfortunately, he didn't share it with us, but
Neil,
maybe next time.
This is Pat and Kendall. Listen, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Oh!
I grew some BBs today.
I'm as mad as hell,
sweetheart.
Oh!
I grew a couple of babies today.
Yeah.
And you guys compelled me to call Channel 10.
Good. Excellent.
I got the
Good
number
for you.
in case anybody there is pissed off like me, and I heard a couple of your other callers.
Yeah.
576-6397 is Channel 10.
That's 305.
305, correct. I told them that Michael Putney, like your other callers, and no objectivity whatsoever.
No, the whole purpose of that entire thing yesterday was, I guess, because they had a little bit of flack over the fact they were going to carry the game. So as a result, now they had to turn around and just bend over doing backward somersaults to try to appease those 200 or 300 people in Domino Park and show them that, oh, we hate Castro even more than you do, and this is a terrible thing, and it's whatever it was, you know.
And one of the worst things that I found so shameless was the general manager had to get on there and make a disclaimer that they were not making any money off of that show.
He's an asshole.
Off
Yeah.
of that program, and any money, and they were actually going to lose money. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm shedding all kinds of tears for the money that the
Exactly.
TV stations in this town lose.
I can't take
They're
it.
raping this community.
And did you read, I don't know if you did read the article by Dan LeBastard.
I wouldn't read his column if you paid me by the word.
It was comical, and I would like to say to Dan, you're not writing editorials, you're writing a sports column. Keep your opinions to yourself as far as politics.
Yeah,
and
right.
write the
Since
sport.
when did he become a political observer all of a sudden?
Absolutely. Neil, please, I can't take it anymore. I just wish more people were to get pissed off and change things around here.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
God bless you,
Later.
sir. Okay. See, there you go. That's what I'm looking for, some people with some feeling about this. Everybody is so goddamn lethargic in this town. We've gone through almost the whole season in the Macarena, and I know nobody else cares about this because I got 20 other hockey fans out there. The red light, you still can't see it, and it's obvious we're gonna go through the whole season, and you can't see when a goal is scored. And you got 18 or 19,000 people in there jiggling around, looking up at the goddamn big scoreboard. They don't care. That's the problem with this town. That's why it's become what it is, because you got a bunch of lethargic people whose brains are rotting in the sun or whatever is going on. They don't care. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. Oh, we don't care about that. We don't know from it. We don't care about it. And so as a result, you know the old saying about the greasy wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's why those 200 people there in Domino Park running around with their placards, whether they're running around there or wherever they're running around, carrying on and screaming and yelling. That's why they get all the attention of the media, because number one, the media want to pander anyway, and number two, they only want to pander to those people who make all the noise. It's like all the old farts on Hollywood Beach. Oh, somebody had a T-shirt, "Life is a beach." We bet, so they start up. Or the old farts in Hallandale. Whatever it is, all they got to get is 20 or 30 phone calls or people running around protesting and picketing, and right away, oh, gee, we better pacify them. Because everybody else, they're in la-la land. They got no opinion. They got nothing to say. This town needs a goddamn exorcism is what it needs.
The power of Christ compels you.
For Christ's sakes. 567-0560, pound 560. On the AT&T wireless phone. I should know better than anybody else. I sit here every single day of my life whipping and beating and flagellating these bastards. Do I get a response?
No.
No. I mean, just working overtime to try to elicit, no matter what it is we're talking about, just to try to drain, to squeeze, to elicit something. Like the one guy that called, it's on both sides. I said, don't you have an opinion? He was doing a Jeff DeFlorist there, riding the fence. He probably has a bruise at this point, which I can give him some good pointers on that, by the way. And that Defoe, by the way, you're full of crap, man. You're entitled to your opinion, but your opinion full of crap about this Fidel thing. And oh, gee, how they, talk about pandering. Give me a break, okay? I checked the demographics in your ratings, by the way, as minute as they are, Jeff DeFlorist, and believe me, the Julios, except for the 5 or 6 that were calling, sucking around. The one good guy, like I said, 10 minutes to 10, that call should be taped and played every hour on the hour. From a Cuban gentleman, little, I don't know, how 40s, 50s, 60s, however old he was, not a kid, just chewing them out, and rightfully so, about how the Anglo media now sounding just like Radio Mambi, catering and sucking around and pandering. We have enough people pandering already in this town, Defoe. It's a frickin' ball game, which I know in your case, you think is a lot more important than it really is. Just a goddamn ball game. I didn't hear anybody screaming when we were playing ping pong against the Chinese. Anybody scream about that?
No.
Were they screaming on a morning show about the goddamn Pope over there with his dress on?
No.
No, you bet your sweet ass they weren't. Like this guy says to Dan LeBastard, leave the politics to the politicians and people that know something about it, and stick with your, ping pong games. Stick with your goddamn ladies' golf and the Lipton.
Baby, you melt my jockey shorts.
I'm a lonesome faggot, cruising down Biscayne. All right. Got my whip, my boots, my dildo, but something's not the same. Oh, I am so lonesome, this life just ain't for me. Gonna trade Bernice and Susie, Big Brucey set me free. Oh, Big Brucey, I'm going down today. I opened up my closet and found out I was gay. Lonesome faggot, get yourself a queer. Oh, Big Brucey, take it up your rear. Ouch! Big Brucey, Big Brucey.
11:45 and 5:50. Notice we found George found this old cart because somebody asked for me to play that the other day and we couldn't find it. So you're welcome, by the way. But you notice how when it says take it up the rear, and back in those days, I forget how many years ago, that I think that this is a Zeta. It's a Zeta cart. So that's like 12 years ago. And we couldn't say take it up the rear. Now we can say take it up the rectum, up the ass, whatever you like. See, we're making some progress, boys and girls. Huh? Right, Sally?
Take it up the ass.
Yeah. What a juvenile frickin' country this is, man. Juvenile. So Dr. Mark's going to fax me the rest of my results for my blood test. He said, no big deal. You might live till the end of the show. Hey, I got news for you. The way it's going lately, every day when I come in, I wonder if I'm going to live to the end of the show. But I'm doing it. You can deny. Seriously, I sit there in that game last night, and I've noticed it before, but not quite as consciously. Maybe I was just paying attention because I'm so psychotic about weight and health right now. Because as you get older and people around you, like good guys like Sonny Hirsch, start dying prematurely from fat, you start becoming more acutely aware of these things. And I'm watching all of these people. I mean, just in my section and the one to the right, okay, whatever, I guess it's 134, just in those two sections. I'm watching all these big men and women, by the way, not just guys, who look like apartment complexes. They're so fat. They're not going to live very long. You're going to be dead. What are you thinking about? Are you nuts?
Uh-huh.
Jesus, what a country of slobs we are. And like I said, see, if I were skinny, then I'd be an asshole to be saying these things. I've been fighting fat for 38 years. So believe me, I know fat. Only once in my life, 1974 and 75, I lost 100 pounds. I went from about close to 270 to about 170. I looked great. I felt great. I was getting all the action I could handle. I mean, it was great. I was in West Palm at J&O. Man, was that a great year. I was wearing like real living and breathing clothes. I didn't have to go in there and say, give me a pup tent and a guayabera, please. Oh, no, listen, thank God we got the Cubans, because without guayaberas, look at all the years I never would have made it. And fat rich, too. See, guys who wear, Anglo guys that wear guayaberas, the only reason we ever wore those is because you can't wear a shirt that you tuck in. I'll never forget when I finally lost enough weight I could start tucking in my shirt. I said, oh, yeah. Oh! But a guayabera is like a tent. Covers up a lot of evils. I think they wear them over there in Tent City. Here's a mobile in Aventura. Hello.
Hey, Neil, I'm so ticked at the Panther organization.
About?
We've got a $60 million investment, and they sent him to that doctor. Why don't they check out the doctors like Stead in Colorado who works on Marino, Uribe and Heckman, Dan Canal, James, Dr. James up in Mobile, Alabama. We get these guys.
Yeah, that's where he finally went. Now that they messed him up over at the Cleveland Clinic, now they're sending Pavel to Alabama with a banjo.
If you ever watch those doctors, I sat behind them for 5 years at the old arena.
And Dino, by the way, may never play again.
Right. He finally got smart and went to Detroit to get checked out. What about Gordon Murphy? These doctors sit there, especially that bald-headed geek, sits there so bored at the hockey game, I feel like just smacking his head. He just sits there, and when he has to get up to go do some treatment there to the players, they're bothering me. Wake up, my God.
Exactly.
And watch this. He's got his hand stuck halfway up his nose every single game.
Yeah.
He's just pissing me off.
Okay. Excellent call. Great. By the way, speaking of doctors, there's a doctor that sits in front of us at the arena, a few seats down. I mean, we got a little bit of a problem row in front of us. Okay, I mean, the people that sit directly in front, you know, I just give up. I mean, they're hopeless, you know, with little babies and holding up in the air, and they're up and down. They're switching seats like they're sitting in hot seats. I mean, you know, just pick a seat and sit down already, okay? But I give up on them. They're hopeless. They're making a little bit of improvement, but it's very slow, you know. But this doctor, who's a great guy, by the way, he and I had a conversation. Remember I told you weeks ago about how he's got many of his patients on the Atkins? Remember that? Bald-headed guy. Great guy. Don't take it personal, Doc, unless you want to. But he and his wife stood up. It was late in the, it was a crucial point in the game, okay, I think late in the second period. And New Jersey's got a power play, and they're all over us. They're in our end, and they're like just all over the place. It's a miracle they're not scoring. And he and his wife decide now's the time to get up, and they're going to go do what? I have no idea. And right in front of us, and of course it's to my left, they're to my left, so can we see anything that's going on?
No.
No. And the young guy and his girlfriend behind me saying, what are you standing up for now? Why now? What are you doing? Seriously, they could bring in a battery of psychologists just to do a study on the behavior of the people in that arena. And they could be there for years and not complete their study and just be astonished to see what goes on. I mean, even when they had that stupid thing up there with the which thing is the puck under, you know, with the puck shuffle, they had to kill some time in between when the action stops. Most places they don't pay any attention to that. Here it's like, oh, that's a major thing. Oh, number one, they're all screaming and they're yelling. We have two open lines, 5670560. Seriously, I don't get these people. I can't relate to them. I don't understand where their brain is at, what they're thinking about. Maybe they're all choking on that fat. And I know people get insulted, like that bitch out there, that fat cow from Phoenix, you know, the one who all of a sudden became a chronic caller 2 days in a row.
How dare you?
You know, people get insulted. I don't get insulted. If somebody says to me, in fact, I get more insulted when a lot of people, because they like to suck up, oh, you're not so fat. You're always talking about how fat you are. You're not fat at all. Bull crap. If I didn't start losing some weight, if I was still running around 200, when I was at IOD, when I went there, I weighed almost 240 pounds. That's how much weight I had gained back since my great J&O days in 75. I was about, I think, 237. If I still weigh, I'd be dead. I'd be a fat guy in a box. So maybe you think it's very amusing. Maybe you think, you don't have any, but there comes a point you say to yourself, do I want to die? Is this going to taste so great that I want to die? My answer is simple. No. And I love that meal of which, by the way, that was a perfect Atkins meal. And I came home, my blood sugar was like 110. Great. After a big steak and barbecued shrimp. All Atkins. A little bit of spinach there with cheese, which, a little carbs there, but not too much. Killer carbs. Dr. Mark and I should get together and write a book called Killer Carbs, because that is what's killing you people out there. Sugar and refined carbohydrates, which are loaded with sugar and all kinds of other crap. That's what's killing the American public. Not fat. Not FAT, not dietary fat, but pubic fat on your body that you get from killer carbohydrates. You don't have to be some kind of an expert. And every weekend you turn on the TV and you flip through and there's 75,000 infomercials. They're selling pills. They got that quack with the sloped shoulders. Looks like a hunchback. The Great American Scam, whatever that thing is called. All these people. And why are they doing it? Because there's fatter and fatter and fatter America, and we're dying from it like Sonny Hurst died from fat. And like I said, Boog, you can take it personally. You can have thin skin, although it'll never hold in the fat if it's too thin. It'll be oozing out. But a lot of people are commenting. Even Rimmer at dinner, and they said, "Boy, Boogish, you're getting enormous, isn't he?" We want you to lose we want you to live, sweetheart. We don't want you to die in your own fat. You're a young guy. You got your whole life ahead of you, like William Holden said in Network. We'll even take you to the foot of the George Washington Bridge. Just don't jump, number one. And number two, maybe it'll kill some time you won't be eating in a cab. Stop with the food. Stop with the madness. Here's South Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Buenos dias.
I do want to thank you for you taking the kind of stand that you're taking and what's going on in this city. It is refreshing to know that somebody out of so many people is willing to express a free opinion here without having to worry about what could happen to him. I called today at 7 o'clock the program of the Three Stooges in your station.
The worst team, yeah.
And
what happened, by the way? I thought Ranieri was stirring today. Go ahead.
What they tell me when I disagree with them politely, like I am, I didn't yell at them, is that I was a pro-Castro communist.
Who said that?
The three of them are a unison, like. It started with the depot, and then the two other ones joined.
Even Geldy, that little twerp.
Yes, they all
he's a good
say...
one to talk about pro-Castro. Did you hear what he said about Castro, seeing him on TV yesterday?
Hey, that's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's good that you say this in particular, because your station is the only station from Miami that can be heard in Cuba. It's not
right,
it's
exactly.
the only station that is not blocked.
Right.
All the other ones, including IOD, not because of any political stand, because in the process of blocking the station next to them, they also block 610, you know.
Right.
So your station is, listen, I just came back from Cuba Wednesday, and this event was a big event with the people, not with the government, the people.
And by the way, let me say this. What were they talking about? The 50,000 people in the stadium were all handpicked and invited.
Well, of course.
But the fact is, it was on television. Everybody that had a TV set was able to see it in Cuba. So what were the people in the stadium going to see that the people watching on TV weren't going to see?
On television and on radio. And you know what somebody said yesterday, and not in your station, in IOD, that only 2 or 3 people in every neighborhood had television, which is an outright lie. In Cuba, about 90% of the households own television.
Like I was telling George before I came on the air, when I went to Caracas that time, and they drove me from the airport to the downtown, and you drive through the winding mountains in Caracas, and all those poor schleppers living up there.
They all have an antenna.
Every house has got a TV antenna. There's little tin roof shacks.
Exactly.
Everybody's got a TV set. They may not have any clothes, but they got a TV set.
You got it. It looked like a Christmas tree at night when you
look
look
at it. Right, looks like a Hanukkah bush. That's
right. But anyway, I really appreciate you taking the stand you're taking, and they are the Channel 10 in particular. I called them yesterday, and I was able to talk to somebody alive, not to the recording. And what they told me when I expressed my opinion that there was a program totally out of balance. They had 10 people and not a dissenting opinion in the 10 people.
Right, that's right.
Well, what they told me
it was like that Kooky Roberts thing on Sunday morning they have now with the 4 Nazis running around.
Right. So what they
and George Steph on top of us, who's a turncoat. Yeah.
So the lady that was speaking to me, the one thing that she said, very surprised. Are you Cuban? And I said, of course. But do you think that all the Cubans in this community think?
See, that's another thing. They make a bad mark on the good Cubans, which there's a hell of a lot in this town, who aren't part of that banana boat right-wing old exile community, are part of that mentality, and they try to make it appear. Most of the Cubans couldn't give a crap less about that ball game.
And the problem with people like me is that we don't have anywhere that we can express our opinion, because what they criticize of Cuba is what they have implanted in Miami.
Right, exactly.
If you don't think like I do, you have no right to speak. And you have the right to speak as long as you say what I wanted to hear.
Right.
This is what goes on in the Cuban media. And what Michael Putney and
what a disgrace.
That was such an incredible shame, because up to yesterday I did respect Michael Putney. And you say that you don't read Dan Le Batard column, but he used what is used commonly in the Cuban community to compare the situation with Cuba with the situation with the Nazis and the Jews, and that's offensive. That is offensive to any sensitive human being.
Right.
To compare Castro with Hitler is to minimize what happened in the Holocaust. And I do thank you for giving me this opportunity.
And hasta que miras.
Bye.
11:57 at 560. See, there's a lot of people out there like him, and this guy isn't some spring chicken like 10th generation. This guy's been around the block a few times. He knows what it's all about. He knows when he's being pandered to. And Michael Putney, I always thought was very dry and boring, pseudo-intellectual, but a really good guy. But yesterday, Michael, you sold out. You've got no credibility left. You and Dwight Lauderdale and the Gottham Spoch over there at Channel 10. And thank God I never watched their news. I never watched. The only person over there that's got any credibility is Don, who's a good weather guy. Other than that, they suck. I hope that the ghost of Ann Bishop comes and drives you off in a goddamn diesel rig. Never to be seen again, the whole bunch of you.
Castro, get out of Cuba.
Yes.
We just can't use ya. You've been around way too long. Castro, you ugly bastard.
You turd. too long you've lasted. The Bay of Pigs should have worked. Fidel, you make me sick. Get out of Cuba quick. You are so goddamn rich, you amigo, son of a bitch. Baseball, we know you like. Are you behind the strike?
Yes.
Where were you in '63? Did you kill Kennedy?
Yes.
Muerte.
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 Muerte. Muerte. Muerte. Muerte. Get out now and free your nation. Are you into masturbation?
Yes.
Fidel will lift the embargo. Cuba will become another Key Largo. USA. USA. We're turning all the rafts and boats away. Lucy! Castro, get out of Cuba. We just can't use ya. You've been around way too long.
Wait.
Castro, you ugly bastard. Too long you lasted. The Bay of Pigs should have worked.
Hey, puppy!
Fidel, you make me sick. Get out of Cuba quick. You are so goddamn rich, you amigo son of a bitch. Baseball, we know you like. Are you behind the strike? Where were you in '63? Did you kill John Kennedy? Muerte!
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 Muerte! Muerte! Get out now and free your nation. Are you into masturbation? There will lift the embargo. Cuba will become another Key Largo. USA! USA! We're turning all the rafts and boats away.
Lucy!
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 What happened to iPoppy? It's 5 minutes past noon. If I see two things we know about Castro. Number one,
He's an asshole.
and number two, he ain't going anywhere. So that's all you need to know. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? I haven't called you in a coon's age. I got all these things I want to talk to you about real quick.
How is that old coon? Go ahead.
First of all, I was working on the house and I had that game on and I just knew, boy, I couldn't wait till 10 o'clock this morning. I knew you would be flowing at the mouth.
I am, and you know something, like I said, I watched maybe 2 or 3 minutes of the foreplay because, you know, I was watching the Pittsburgh Buffalo, what a hell of a game yesterday.
I don't have a satellite dish.
And I was watching that, so I'm not going to waste my time watching some stupid meaningless.
With the Rodriguez family. Did you see that part?
No.
Oh, they had
George was on there?
No, it wasn't George. It was it was a Cuban couple. They had a bet on who would win, and Michael Putney's running around some bar down in Havana, Little Havana, talking about this and that, and who's going to win the game. I mean, just what you said. It was a real pander and suck job.
You know, I mean, the Cuban people on television could see the Orioles had better uniforms than the Cuban national team. That's all we need. You know, if we're going to do a little propagandizing. See, we had better uniforms, guys. There we go. We win, you lose, and they won the game anyway, so that's it.
What I keep asking myself, and you do the same, is I don't understand why everybody was so happy about the Pope being down there, and then nobody.
I don't have one response to that, and I'm telling you again, like I said back then, these people are cowards. They're afraid to speak out because the church has got them knuckled under. They keep giving them their money every week and schlepping there and subsidizing this corrupt, bankrupt institution, and they're afraid but when it comes to opening up their mouth about a stupid baseball game, then all of a sudden we got these 200 macho old spicks.
One more thing. We're getting, like you said a little while ago, which kind of made me call, that we're getting a little bit more out of the Stone Age because of something happened. I don't remember what it was, but
because now we can say up your ass or whatever.
Well, first of all, the Spice Channel on the cable actually shows it now.
Right.
But they don't show the end part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. And then I was in a convenience store the other day, and I flipped open and I flipped open a Hustler, and I thought Larry Flint was going clean, like Playboy or Penthouse, but they actually show the actual penetration in Hustler magazine too. Oh! So it's like we're lighting it up.
Uh-huh.
So that's all, Neil. I appreciated your time and all these things.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what's wrong with a little bit of penetration, huh? As long as it's not in the
rectum.
Oh, God forbid. No way. 567. Okay, I don't want to get started on that again, okay? And, see, a lot of people got very upset about that because I was the one that outed all. Oh, and also, I'm glad I got into this. You are so full of crap. I talked to 50,000 people over the weekend. You're wrong, man. You are terminally, hopelessly Cuban, brainwashed. This thing about you're a 1, I'm a 6 on the Kinsey scale. 1 is terminally straight, absolutely, totally, and 6 is totally gay. You couldn't possibly have sex with a guy. I couldn't, under any circumstances, even think about having sex with a woman. But you know how many millions and millions of 2s through 5s, and the fact that somebody might be a 2 or a 3 doesn't make them a fag any more than some guys that are 5 that have,
What does it make them?
Horny. You are so in denial, man. It's that Cuban thing again. It just
Sure.
The fact that you say these things is so ridiculous. It is. It's laughable. I'm a guy as bright as you are to have that one part of your brain where you just.
Why is that fantasy so important? Why can't you just,
Fantasy of what?
That you have sex.
So in other words, there are no
people.
2 through 5s, right?
Sure.
Only 1s and 6s. Yeah.
Right.
So what is that? So what are they?
Fags.
So how about guys who are 5s that have sex with women?
They're
what does that
fags
make them?
who
Does that
step
make
out
them?
every now
Does
and
that
then.
make them straight?
No.
What does it make them?
Fags.
So everybody, okay, here we go. Everybody except George is a fag. Let's hear it. We just finally, thank you for the solution. Not
not that there's anything wrong. That's okay.
Oh God, you're so hopeless. You're just in denial, baby.
Coach, get away from the ball, motherfucker.
While spending the remainder of your golden years in the land of death, the one thing you have to depend on is your car. With Jew Canoe theft on the rise, the people who brought you a big black guy named Ben Car Alarm now bring you an old Jewish guy named Isaac.
Get away from my automobile, you big MF.
Remember when we used to post them back in Caribbean? Yeah. We ought to get a bundle for this, baby. The white ones are cooler.
Get away from my automobile, you big MF.
What the hell is that?
I object seriously. Profanity like that.
Slow down, I think somebody's coming.
Get away from my automobile, you big MF. Get away from my automobile, you big MF.
Whenever some bastard tries to steal my car, I feel safer with an old Jewish guy named Isaac.
Get away from my automobile, you big MF.
Get your old Jewish guy named Isaac car alarm now and receive a free flower antenna.
Get away from my automobile, you big MF.
An old Jewish guy named Isaac car alarm. Now available at all their stores.
Coffee Screen at 5:60 WQM. Don't forget the Mad Dog will be here.
Yeah.
For Hank Goldberg, 2 to 6 this afternoon. We got Bookster at 6 o'clock. NCAA championship basketball time. Yeah, the Spartans lost. They put on a tough battle against Duke, and then they ride in East Lansing, and I'm embarrassed. When the hell was that on? I didn't see any of that.
It's like on CNN or something.
Oh, well, I wouldn't watch that. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. We're talking to fat people today and fat heads. Here's a mobile in the Gables. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes? Okay, have a nice day. Here's a mobile in Kendall. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, listen, I think you're a little confused.
About what?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. See, I don't think you would know the meaning of freedom and democracy if I stuck the Statue of Liberty up your butt.
Uh-huh.
See? Because, in other words, you want to censor, you don't want to hear the voices.
I want to censor what?
Well, you don't want to, in other words, you don't want to hear the voices of a minority, you know? And you don't know what to stand for. In other words, are you here for democracy and freedom? Yes, right? That's why you live in America. Now, they put people in jail over there because...
Well, what are you doing, talking double talk?
I'm
what
not
did
talking
you
double
just get
talk.
you saying?
No, I'm saying the following, right? They just put 4 people in jail over there for expressing ideas regarding freedom and democracy.
Yeah.
So you'd rather pander to
And
that...
how many people did they shoot in Tiananmen Square?
Hey, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Hey, I was against the visit of the Pope over there, okay? I criticized it.
Did you call me when the Pope was over there?
Yeah, I did.
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Yeah, hey, I've written about it, okay? So it's in print.
Yeah.
Okay?
But you didn't call me about it.
Yes, I did call you about it.
Okay.
Okay? But on top of that, Neil, okay? In other words, I think we have to define ourselves. You know, I agree with you in certain
Sir,
things.
I'm not questioning the right of people to go out and protest, 100 or 200 people in Domino Park.
All right.
If that's an occupation, I don't question their right. What I question is the fact that the media, every time those people go out and get psychotic about something, they whip it up into a frenzy, becomes a front page story. The people at Channel 10 have to start pandering and bending over backward and whipping the whole community up. And, sir, you can believe me or not, the fact that, sir, Can I say something?
Wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute.
All
the
right.
overwhelming majority of people in this town, the overwhelming majority, didn't give a crap about that baseball game yesterday.
Well, the point is this. You know, what they showed on TV is Castro with the two assholes, with Peter Angelos and the commissioner of baseball.
Yeah.
As if they...
But you know something? Both of them were assholes. Both of them were both assholes before they went to see Castro.
I realize that, see?
Yeah.
And the people in Cuba, what happened, the invitation part, it has nothing to do with seeing the game. It has to do with the fact that they didn't want any protest inside the stadium.
Yeah.
So they
didn't want any protest. Sir, I hate to break the news to you and everybody who's listening. 40 years later, the majority of people in Cuba, after all the brainwashing, the majority of people there think Castro is a great guy.
I'm sorry. I disagree
I'm
with
sorry,
you.
sir. You're wrong.
They are afraid. They're afraid. Okay, they don't have the courage to go ahead and die for their country.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the problem.
Well, they're cowards like the people that ran out of there 40 years ago.
No, smart. Okay, because we didn't want our families living under that SOB any more than you would want your family living under.
What does that mean? Smart? How come he didn't? There were millions of people. Why didn't you kick his ass?
Well, number one,
why didn't you overthrow him?
We tried to. We came here and we tried to go back. See, with weapons. We weren't able to get over there.
Yeah.
Okay. We tried to do that. We got screwed. Okay. So anyway,
and
then after that, see, somebody makes a pact with Russia. Hey, we're not going to let anybody hurt Cuba. So anybody here who tries to buy weapons to go over there goes into jail over here.
Sir, I hate to break the news to you. It's not only Cuba. We have laws against that. Individual peoples can't just start their own little foreign policy, even though Dade County likes to pretend it's a foreign country and make its own foreign policy. It's against the laws, sir.
Mr. Macho Clinton, has to decide. Is he for democracy or is he for, for whatever is convenient, for his affairs? You see, so if he's either
who has to decide?
Mr. Sissy Clinton.
Oh, and now Clinton was the one that did this.
Well, he approved it. See, he didn't have to approve it.
Yeah.
We didn't.
And what did it change?
We didn't approve the Olympic Games.
This is the same Clinton, by the way. I don't hear you praising him for the fact that he's that he's cut off aid to Cuba and that he's got this stonewall relationship with Castro.
He hasn't cut off. He's trying to cut a lot to them because he doesn't want the immigration.
So in other words, if he doesn't do everything that you approve of, sir, you're wasting my time and your time. Okay, call up Radio Mambi. They'll listen to your right-wing bull crap, okay? Always the same, always the same. One thing about guys like this, they never met a Democrat that they liked. Every one of them comunista, they're too liberal, they're kissing his ass, no matter what he would do. And like I said before, I'm sure that Bubba, or Sissy Pants, or whatever this guy calls him, has more important things to worry about now since we're fighting the war in Kosovo than worrying about some stupid ball game in Cuba. Let me say it for the 50 millionth time. You and your ilk can get on Radio Mambi and all those other goddamn stupid one-dimensional radio stations and Hakachonic the same crap and attack me like you did. Oh, I wouldn't know freedom. I know all about freedom, sir. You know nothing about it. You wouldn't know freedom if they stuck the whole goddamn country up your ass, much less the Statue of Liberty. All they know here is, you to hell with Fidel and you can't say this and you can't say that. Yeah, we'll say whatever the hell we want to say. Because that's the American effing way, okay? And if you don't like it, go out on your banana boat and go back down where you came from. That's the way I feel about it. Give me a lecture on what freedom's all about. And you know something? Most Americans don't have any idea what freedom's all about. That's the sad part. They think they do, but they don't. Why don't you get on a plane, sir, and go somewhere to a real goddamn country where they really understand freedom? Not a place where you're allowed to say whatever the government decides it's okay to say, and you can't say this word, and you can't say that word. Right. That's freedom. As long as you don't step on anybody who's sensitive, as long as you don't step on their toes, then you're free. Go over to Britain, sir. You'd fit in perfect over there with that constipated bunch of Brits that don't even have a First Amendment. You'd fit in perfect. Go give the Queen a kiss for us. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I watched a good bit of the ball game yesterday, and I think what we need to do is make Fidel commissioner of all sports here.
Yeah.
They panned that audience.
I got a better idea. Since our John Henry, our new Marlins owner, is so outraged over that game being played yesterday, why doesn't he do everybody a favor, sign Fidel up? I mean, obviously this is his lifelong dream is to play baseball. The baseball is in his blood. He don't care. He's been a dictator for 1,000,000 years, 40 years. He don't care about that anymore. He would jump at the chance. Give him a nice Marlins uniform, sign him up, put him out there on the mound. He's got to do better than some of the stiffs we got on this team. And then, then we'll just go over there and have a good time.
Well, I like him in charge better because what I noticed when they panned that stadium and they did it often, there's no fat people there because he controls the food.
That's right.
There's nobody running
he ought to be in charge of nutrition over here. That's right.
There's nobody getting up in the middle of the inning, running around, peeing and puking and drinking and everything else.
Sure as hell beat
Everybody
the ambiance at the Macarena there, and nobody was standing up in front of everybody when they were just about to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's right.
Exactly, and no goddamn cell phone.
Right, that's right. All right. Excellent call, sir.
Thank you.
God bless you. There you go. Oh! You have to run through a whole bunch of them before you finally get it. And by the way, where's that fax from my doctor, God damn it? I hear a fax starting over there. It better be the one. You know, it's one thing to hold back stuff. I mean, 2.5 weeks later, Mark. Let's get with it. You're a good guy, but just a little on the slow side. Wasn't it like an hour and 45 minutes ago he was going to be faxing me? You know, I'm gonna, but it's kind of like the Greg Reed effing way, you know. Oh, we're going to state-of-the-art studio. We're going to do this. Yeah. Man. And by the way, the dinner with the Rimmers was great, and nobody at the table was diseased, and you and I ain't going to dinner, all right? Next time he brings that up, you tell him, Neil isn't going to dinner with you, Greg. It's not going to happen. It was nice the first time. It was pleasant. The food was great because I picked a restaurant, and that's fine. That's the end of that business. I want to take care of business here first. I don't go to dinner with people who, you know, have other people call me back and, you know, don't have the courage to deal with me face-to-face. I don't go to dinner with people like that. With people who are like so cowardly that they can't because they don't speak the language. I thought we had one language problem in this town, which we all are well aware of. We got another language problem. I work for people who don't speak the same language that I do. Here's Miami. Hello. Let's go to Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Okay, sir.
You know, that last call, that Cuban guy really pissed me off about the Statue of Liberty and everything.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of this down here in Dade County. No one else gives a rat's ass in this country about Cuba except these morons in Dade County.
And you'll notice that this story was like, in fact, somebody faxed me. They were watching the Fox affiliate Channel 5 in New York, WNEW yesterday. It was like the very last story is like an afterthought, like they give it about 10 seconds.
I know, because no one cares.
Right.
No one cares about it. And all these people down here complaining, ranting and raving, oh, Cuba this, Cuba that. Well, forget about that, man. I'm so sick and tired of it.
And then that's my point today. The whole community has been flagellated with this until we're puking from it. And the people there at Channel 10, and there were others in the media, but them and the newspapers, I mean, playing this thing up like the, you know, I got up this morning, the alarm clock said 7 o'clock, the sun was shining, my dogs did the same in the backyard. You know, life goes on. Nothing changed yesterday over a ball game.
Yep.
And God bless you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot.
Here's a fax, by the way, who was very bitterly disappointed with you, George. And where's that fax from that doctor already? What?
Probably that same guy that's all crushed.
Oh, this is from Club Cathode Ray.
Oh, yeah, the same guy, remember?
What?
Or did you save that?
This is one that just came in. Oh, so the fax machine is working, Dr. Mark. Maybe just not from your office. Maybe we got a French connection. It says, I love George. He does a great job when you're on vacation. He's smart, has a lot of interesting ideas, but it's very disappointing to hear his argument that anyone who may have had sex with their own sex even once is gay. I'm sorry, that simply is not true. I happen to be a fag, but it's irrelevant. It says, men are men, we are made to be horny. Many men who are straight, when put in the right circumstances, prison, truck drivers, or a ship, will get lonely for human interaction, interact with men. After that, they return to normalcy, in quotes, that they are straight because they always were in the first place. George making that comment makes him sound like a typical fear-filled Julio who secretly hangs out at Westland. Signed, very disappointed. Oh!
Yeah, I'm homophobic.
Oh, we know that.
And
anti-Semitic.
Oi!
I love the Arabs.
Yeah, but they're crappy dressers. No, I made an excellent point to George before, and I'll say it on the air, and this is true. In society, all over the world, good-looking people are more popular. They're always looked upon more favorably than those of us who are ugly. Like if a guy's on trial for a murder, people who are good-looking always get more sympathy, and people like that. They fall for that, even though a lot of good-looking people are assholes. And the same thing with the way people dress. When you're dealing with like Arabs with all the schmatzes on, or even Middle Eastern like the Pakistanis, and I'll tell you, going to Toronto a lot, the Pakistanis are terrific people. But like the Pakistani cab drivers, they all wear those big purple turbans, you know, the schmatzes on their head. And so we can't relate to that. So people who dress like we do, we're more sympathetic toward them almost always than we are with people who dress differently. So maybe if like Arafat would like take a bath and shave and put on like a suit like Greg Reed once in a while, you know. Better haircut, I would hope, but something like that.
La cingada manera cubana.
12:31 at 560 WQM. I interrupted proceedings for a major announcement, by the way. I have a scandalous thing in my hand. No, not that. We just received a piece of mail, boys and girls, from DirecTV. Remember a few days ago I was telling right on the air here about how they were sending us, they were dunning us for being past due. I mean, us. I mean, it's our service here on this thing. But, of course, the station's supposed to be paying for that, right?
Yes.
And I mentioned it on the air. Did that work? Did that embarrass them into paying the bill?
No.
We want to make sure you continue to receive all the outstanding entertainment DirecTV has to offer. And keep in mind, all we have is the basic package. We have no premium channels, no sports channels, no nothing, no spice, no nothing. So the bill for like 3 months now, I guess it's past due, is $82.90. I guess that's for 2 or 3 months. It says how your service is at the risk of being disconnected because we haven't received your payment. I have worked, and you think I'm making this up or that I'm a malcontent or I want to be whatever you think. No, this is for real. I have it right in my hand now, and the goddamn bill too. And what I'm going to do, and I just told, I'm going to take the thing home. It's got an envelope, and I'm going to send a check myself. This is the only contact. I mean, now in this studio we don't even have windows. This is the only contact we have to the outside world is our DirecTV up here with CNN. To rewrite. Which someday maybe he'll get the level up on that so I could actually put it on the air. George Corso, maybe you can get some level. He is the worst guy at getting the levels, you know? Seriously, what is the problem with getting some level on that damn thing? I crank that thing up. Listen to that.
To Serbia, Yugoslavia.
You barely even move the goddamn needle. So I'm taking it home and I'm paying the $83 out of my own pocket because I don't want to have us disconnected here. Everything with these people, you have to threaten them to get the money out of them. Did George get his $200 Employee of the Month bonus yet?
No.
Did I have my $1,200 and whatever down payment on the playoff tickets for the Panthers yet?
No.
Did they pay DirecTV the $83?
No.
Oh, but some people around here, oh, the Beasleys, what wonderful guys. Cheap. Bush League. Right. We're going to put this up on the wall, this letter from DirecTV, threatening to disconnect our service because we're $83 past due. Here's a guy, Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Marlins, Mr. Dolphins, Mr. Panthers, Mr. Sports, Mr. I got a haircut, Mr. Whatever disease he's walking around with this week, Mr. I'm going to take you and buy a steak dinner. Not. But they can't pay the bills. I've seen Chinese laundries that will run more efficiently than this place. I've seen coin-operated self-service laundry that will run more efficiently with nobody around. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Neil, I got a freedom story for a Cuban caller.
Yes?
And
the asshole that called before tell me to stick the Statue of Liberty up his ass. Maybe he liked it.
We're going to talk about liberty, okay? And I'm not going to impugn the police department because the guys that actually did the dirty, they were embarrassed they were doing it, and they treated me as nice as, they
So what are you talking about?
Went out Saturday night, had a toothache. Do I want Darvocet? Let's hear a no. Do I want Percocet? No. I want a little weed.
Mm-hmm.
I purchased a bag.
Yeah, man.
I must say. There you go. And I get pulled over about 2 miles later, and the cops said I was speeding, this, that, and the other thing. Wasn't the case. Finally, he told me, listen to this. There were cops hiding in the bushes.
Yeah.
So
what were they doing in the bushes?
So
Each
they
other?
Watch me make my $5 purchase.
Yeah.
They were in this city.
Only $50.
Which will be unnamed.
Yes.
All right. There were no muggings going on. There were no robberies. There were no rapes. There was no body beating the crap out of each other. They had so little to do. There was so much crime solved that they could sit in the bushes and watch me buy a nickel pack.
Uh-huh.
We live in a free country, Neil.
Okay.
See you later.
Don't do it again. Okay. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a guy got caught with some bad weed. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil. How you
yes,
doing?
Sir. Okay.
Listen, I got a question for you. I tried getting through to the Minister of Nutrition, Mr. Castro, but he wouldn't take my phone call,
yes.
so I figured I'd ask you about the
He's another
Atkins
snappy
diet.
dresser, too, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, I could stand to lose about 30 pounds, and I wanted to know more about this Atkins diet. When you started it, how long did it take for your body to take to the new diet? Was it really rough?
Well, what do you mean when I started? I've been on and off it for 4 years now.
Okay, see, well, I've never done it before, and I don't know too many people who have done it, but I'm saying
you don't know too many people who have done
started,
it? Yeah.
So when you first started, was it rough on your system?
No.
It didn't take much?
It takes about maybe 3 or 4 days, and you get some headaches, and you get sugar withdrawal. That's the main thing you'll notice is sugar withdrawal.
Okay, so if I get headaches, I got nothing to really worry about. It just takes a few, maybe a week or so.
Yeah, I can't tell you. It all depends on you. I mean, everybody's different.
Right.
And the diet might not even work for you either.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, man.
Okay, good luck, sir. Good luck to you. Good luck to all us fat people. Still no facts from the doctor yet. This is just not right. It's just not effing acceptable, The efficiency level of the people here in this town, man, at a snail's pace. Everything just kind of creeps and crawls along like some kind of a lazy backwater deep south like Pascagoula, Mississippi, something like that, like Southern Comfort. I think Southern Comfort was filmed in the Everglades, not in the swamps of Louisiana. I really do. Every now and then you'll hear when you go to on the Alligator Alley, they'll say, "Hey, how's Bayou?" And you know that Southern Comfort, all those mugwumps can't be far behind. Yeah, call up this show and give me a lecture on what some Julio, some old grizzled Julio, giving me a lecture on what freedom is all about. And I don't know from freedom. You don't know your ass from my doctor's elbow, sir. And give me a song to dance how you called when the Pope was here. Bull crap, man. Bull duty. You called me when the Pope came down here. All of you had like a lip lock. Everybody was terrified. God forbid you should open up a mouth about the Holy Father. God forbid. About that silly old fag in a dress with his silly beanie on. Just like they were showing on CNN. They're doing the series now about, the millennium and all these things of the century. And they're showing the Queen. The one today is Queen Elizabeth. And they're showing these clips from her coronation, and they're schlepping that big thing behind her there, and they got the whatever the hell she's holding with the crown and all this crap from the Stone Age. And there's Prince Philip, that silly bastard. That's oh God, with all those medals on and that ridiculous outfit. And you wonder why I say the world is insane. Oh God, crazy people running around.
The Hoover out the moon, man.
One night, in need of a screw, my lords did hate, my balls were blue, and I hooked up and thought, what a butt ugly girl. I see thighs of cheese and tasty rice, a face a mosquito would dare not bite, and I think to myself, what a butt ugly girl. Yes. By now I've drank a lot, and I'm feeling pretty high. I've got to find a date, 'cause lately it's been dry. I reach out with my hand, saying, how do you do? Really meaning you'll have to do. So that's the last time I get that bum. I wanted to ask, pretending Reno's her mom. Now I'm sober, I think. What a butt ugly girl. Yeah, I think to myself, what a butt ugly girl.
Well, here's a lovely fact from A&M Beauty Supplies in Miami, by the way. From A&M Beauty Supplies, it says that you hate the Cubans so much, why don't you do your show someplace else or go back where you came from? You are a wrong something or other. A wrong what? You are in a wrong town. Viva Cuba Libre, Adios Maricon, and then it's got a picture of a Pinga Cubana that they drew here. Very nice artwork. Neil, suck my Cuban Pinga Cubana, it says. From A&M Beauty Supplies in Miami. 567-0560 and pound 560 on a mobile one line. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know freedom of speech, and I hate Cubans. Here's Pembroke Pines. Tell us.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up something about hockey. You talking about that now?
I'm talking about whatever you want, sir.
Okay. Did you notice the game Saturday? Saturday. The last two games, who was on the ice when they scored the goals? 7 and 8.
When the other team scored the goals?
Yeah, when Nashville scored and when the Devils scored their 2 goals. 7 and 8 were on the ice. Wilson and Spashik.
And
it...
Well, what does that mean? I think Mike Wilson played pretty good last night. I think he's playing better every game.
Well, when the Ruhenberg shutout, they were standing there looking at each other on the power play.
Yeah.
Well, they got to get their ass together.
Well, what are you knocking those 2 guys for? There's a million other guys you could knock. How about Kirk Muller that can't put it in an empty net?
Well, he's not busting his ass, though. He's playing with Warren every time.
No, he is busting his ass. He's finished, don't you want? Sir, when you learn what the game is all about, call me back, okay? When you have some idea what it's all about, call me back. He's finished. He's done. He's well done. Stick a fork in him like Joey used to say. He's done. Kirk Mueller. Can't do it. And all that crap about Robbie. He makes a little tiny a simple play that happens a million times in a game, and then Parrish makes a great shot to tie it up with 2 minutes left in the game, and they're ready, Terry Murray, Robbie had a great game. He did not have a great game. I can't remember the last time he had even a good game, much less a great game. His statistics are so bloated and so overblown. We're like empty net goals and goals that goalies whiffed on. I remember one game he got, over and over again in my mind, I keep rethinking these things. Oh, that was a great play, a little drop pass there, like just inside the blue line. Like I said, 4,000 times a game, guys make that pass. And big deal. Parrish makes the great shot. Sean Burke stands on his head, keeps him in the game. This guy, all year long, has kept his team in games that by the end of the first period, they would have been out of the game already. Sean Burke. Does anybody talk about him?
No.
Does anybody give him the credit he deserves?
No.
No. But Robbie had a great game. Clueless. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello?
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir?
Hey, Neil, I have a couple points to make to this right-wing Cubans that are brainwashing people. First of all, if the majority of the country was so oppressed and so sad and so pissed off about the way they're being treated by Castro, don't you think there would have been a form of revolt by now? It's happened everywhere else in the world where people have been repressed.
Yeah, but I hate to break the news to you, though. See, those people don't have the guns that Castro does. So that's that discussion.
Okay, but how about in Chile and stuff like that? When Pinochet had all the power, people still tried to there was a lot of lives that were sacrificed, but they eventually started just uprising.
Well, the Cuban people aren't suicidal yet.
Okay, second. This Cuban seems to think that everybody...
In addition to which, he's been there for 40 years, and these people they don't want to believe it, okay, because they're so filled with hate and hysteria, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, but it clouds their judgment. He's brainwashed at least 2 generations now of Cuban kids. Most of the Cuban people don't think of him in that light.
Okay, and as far as it comes, as far as it concerns here, the local media and everything, these Cubans are so trying to brainwash everybody into thinking that they were this great nation, that they're this great people.
They were a nickel and dime right-wing fascist dictatorship. That's what they were.
And the rest of the world,
freedom is a word that's not even in the vocabulary in that country.
And the rest of the world looks at it as a banana republic. Everywhere you go, they're not a big country. We don't give a crap about their people.
That's my point. We don't care about Castro. We don't care about Cuba. And it's 40 years later, and he's not going anywhere. Get over with it and stop flagellating this town with it already. That's my point.
Yeah.
Enough.
And one more thing, the Spanish news in this place, the Channel 23.
Yes.
What a bunch of asses! All they do is just kiss up to the Cubans. They don't realize that they have other Spanish people here that are not Cuban. And you know what? Screw the Cubans. Sometimes get out of it. Get out of your head.
Okay.
We have other people.
Okay,
Bye,
Neil. Calm down. Another spick. Probably some,
Rican.
Oh, will you stop with that crap? Every time somebody calls it, you don't like they're a Rican. Okay, what do you got with those Puerto Ricans, huh?
I don't have anything with it.
Yeah, well, that's your problem. Some of those Puerto Rican women, man, gigantic ass. You'd love them. Where are we going? By the way, that fax come from the doctor yet?
No.
No, I throw in the towel. Okay, I surrender. Get the white flag out. I surrender with him, okay? He can't. Oh, there he is right there. Boy, that must have been a psychic thing. Dr. Mark, I keep looking on a fax machine. Do I see the fax?
No.
I mean, 2.5 weeks later, and here he is on the phone again because he makes a bigger impact when he calls in.
Now, wait a minute. The only item that was left over was the IgE, which is the marker for allergy.
There were 2 items. There were 2 or 3 items left over.
Everything else you got back already.
No, I did not.
Okay, my mistake.
The protein thing?
Yeah, the final came back on Friday. Everything the finals came back on Friday. Because
and the ANA thing for the lupus?
It's all back.
And the one that you just mentioned that I can't pronounce, which is why you're saying it, because you know I'll mispronounce it.
IgE.
Whatever.
Right.
IgE?
Right.
Yeah, the market's up 160 points.
No, I was in and out of the office all morning, but when I get back in this afternoon...
Yeah, I bet you were in and out all morning.
You're right.
That's what I'm hearing.
They came back Friday, and then you went off the air on 1
Okay,
o'clock.
well, lay it on me, okay, because I'm doing my blood sugar this morning was 74, 197 on a scale, on the real scale, which at your office was 213 in December.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making a little progress.
Sounds good. Motivation is everything.
Well, but tell me about these results. See, he still won't want to tell me about it.
Well, I'll be glad to. The lupus, the so-called lupus test, ANA stands for antinuclear antibody, and what it does is it measures your body's sort of an immune function against itself.
Yeah.
And yours was 0. Sometimes drugs can set off an ANA, and that might have been the cause of the rash.
Yeah.
Certainly wouldn't have been lupus, and it requires a little interpretation.
The rash today, by the way, is virtually gone.
Good.
Just about 99%. If it weren't for that awful, ugly scar that I'll never get rid of from the biopsy. But that's okay.
Right. The IgE stands for immunoglobulin E, and it's one of 5 classes of proteins in the body that mediate different kinds of immune functions. IgE in particular does the classical allergies like sneezing and things that you touch, contact. Not so much like getting a rash immediately when you touch something. And what it is, it's a rough scale, and yours was in a low normal range, so that's not what's going on either. The last item, since your protein came back high, I wanted to fractionate it and make sure that you weren't developing some early leukemic-type disease of older men, and that didn't come out either. So these 3 things all came out well. Now, they don't tell us what did happen, but at least they tell us that nothing dangerous is going on.
All of these things.
All of these things.
Mm-hmm.
He puts the lotion in the basket.
So in other words, I'm fine.
I'm not going to tell you. If I tell you that, you'll rag on me.
No, I will not. But what would be the reason that the protein, the protein would be high?
Well,
does that have anything to do with the Atkins?
It's possible. I'll leave it at that. Well, I was more interested in making sure what it's not than what it is. See, a lot of these things are good for excluding disease better than making pinning down a diagnosis.
Because now I'm terrified about 2 things, and that's kidneys and feet. Those are the 2 areas that I'm terrified.
You're
psychotic about them.
Yeah, I know. As a smart diabetic, you know that diabetics need to check on their feet and their eyes frequently. And I heard you talking about how you watch your feet and you make it sound like you're being paranoid, but actually
extra virgin olive oil, man, it works like a charm.
Excellent.
Gets rid of all those little skin tags on your feet, you know.
Right.
It's great.
And the other item you just mentioned was the what?
Kidneys.
No. Once you've been on those pills for more than pretty much 10 days, you'd really have to do something truly stupid to wreck your kidneys, and that's just not going to happen. Your kidney function.
But what about the high protein? Doesn't that cause uric acid and all
that?
No.
It really doesn't relate like that. What it is it's kind of a long technical story, but what they look at is they break down the proteins in the blood and look for the spread of the different types of proteins. I was concerned maybe you might have been developing, like I said, some kind of early leukemic thing that could have caused the rash and might have all fallen into place, but it wasn't there.
What about C-reactive protein? Somebody faxed me a thing about that, about how chronic inflammation may be a sign of high risk of stroke.
C-reactive protein is really an acute reactive protein. I wouldn't go looking for that right away.
Yeah.
We can do that at a later date, but I don't have
it says small, I love that word, smoldering, low-level inflammation that goes on for years but is detectable only on blood tests, appears to be a sign of high risk of stroke.
Yeah, but it's not reliable. A lot of these tests, and I know you're picking up on this, a lot of these tests are just not reliable. It's not like you can pin down one item and say, here's a blood test, here's a result, here's a disease. Sometimes it's a syndrome, a constellation of signs and symptoms, and like constellations, sometimes it's in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm. So I'm fine.
I'm not saying it. You know I want to.
These pains in my liver and,
No, where you pointed when I was in the studio last week, where you pointed wasn't your liver.
What was it?
Probably muscle wall or even intestine, but it wasn't liver. Liver's up higher.
Mm-hmm.
And your kidneys functions on the test were just fine.
Right. So I'm great.
You're great, Neil. I'm not going to tell you how you feel, but you're great.
And I'm taking half of those pills, like down to 12.5 milligrams of that HCT,
right,
which isn't affecting my blood sugar at all now, thank God.
Right.
I mean, if I would have kept taking those 50 milligrams, I think right now I'd be on dialysis.
You're exaggerating a little bit.
A little bit, but not a good thing.
Yeah. I know better than to argue with you.
Because Dr. Bernstein says keep those sugar levels low. Keep them low.
Of course. Because it accumulates after a while. It's kind of like growing rock candy on your arteries.
Right.
And you want to keep it low. So
I think I'm on the right road finally. I think I finally, if nothing else, those test results. Now, when do you think I should repeat them? How soon?
6 weeks.
Okay.
And we're not going to need to do fancy stuff. So
right.
You're not going to need. And it was a week and a half, not 2.5.
Well, it seems like a lifetime.
Until Friday, and I called, and I knew you weren't going to be there after 1 o'clock, so I didn't stall you. I want fast service. I want to dazzle you with the promptness of the service.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm dazzled.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Hey, everybody call in and encourage Neil to stay on the Atkins and stay away from
I don't need any, believe me. My mind is fixed. I'm obsessed. I'm a driven man.
Attaboy.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Don't need any help from all these fat people like I saw at that game. I'm serious. And I'm sure most of them are nice people, but geez, how do you fit your ass in those seats? I mean, we're talking fat when you look at somebody and you wonder, how can they get that big, gigantic fat
Rectum
of theirs in a fairly small seat? What do those people do on a plane besides a lot? What do they do? How do they get their ass in a seat on a plane, especially in coach? Can you imagine Al Goldstein in coach?
No.
You know how a lot of times on a plane the armrest like folds back? That's got to be. He's got to buy 2 seats, one for each cheek. Huh? Oh, Al Goldstein, he's sitting cheek to cheek right there on the in coach. He can afford first class, although he's cheap when it comes to staying. Not cheap with a lot of he'll go into like Nixon, spend $2,000 on cigars. But when it comes to things like that, cheap. Give me a good cheap apartment over there, Al. Come on, you can handle it. As long as he pays for it. 5670560. Boy, I feel so much better since talking to Dr. Mark.
WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
It's the 1 to 2 hour.
All right. The other night I watched a wrestling match with big smooth men with sweaty cracks. They would try to grab each other's ass, wearing nothing more than a tiny G-strap. But when they rang the bell and the match was over, I couldn't help but notice I had a big boner. I wanna be a wrestler and have a man's crotch wrapped around my mouth. All right. I wanna be a wrestler. Feel his fist pushing inside and out. Oh, I admit it seems a little gay. Stick my hand between another man's legs. Oh! But when I pull my hand away, I get to smell my fingers. You know that other than some time to train, you don't need to have much of a brain. As long as in the shower after you work out, you don't mind placing someone's balls in your mouth. They know that white steam can be messy and too smelly. That's why they like to rub that KY on their belly. I wanna be a wrestler, entertaining morons just like you. I wanna be a wrestler, and maybe run for governor too. As long as it attracts a crowd, I don't mind going down, rubbing peepees in a scissor lock with some clumpy queer.
Matacone, 103 at 560 WQAM. This is a fax from A&M Beauty Supplies. You see, it always happens this way. If you express a point of view, and this is for that jackass, that old fart that called before about sticking the Statue of Liberty up his ass, which I think he'd enjoy, which I don't know, give me a lesson on freedom. If you say anything, no matter what it is, that doesn't agree with a particular point of view, the establishment point of view as they see it, then right away you hate Cubans, you hate this one, you're a bigot, Ku Klux Klansman, Matacone, whatever. Last part's right. And let me make it very clear. I speak for the overwhelming majority, I believe, of people who live in South Florida when I tell you that all of us are sick and tired of this hysterical, psychotic, one-dimensional mindset that there's 200 or 300 old farts in Domino Park, and evidently the people at A&M Beauty Supplies are sending this fact that's in their brain. Now, Viva Cuba Libre. Guess what? You ain't going to see no Cuba Libre, okay? Maybe you can drink one, but you aren't going to see it. In fact, most of us Anglos, if I hate to use that, hate Castro even worse than Cubans. You want to know why? Because if it weren't for Castro being there, a lot of assholes like these people wouldn't be here. This town would be like paradise without those old, scuzzy, right-wing pieces of turd who only know one thing. One-dimensional, papa, like a stuck goddamn record. Those are the people we're sick and tired of. And here the media in this town, led by Channel 10, and a bunch of totally irresponsible panderers have turned this into a big, front pages of newspapers and big pictures, and we're all supposed to be whipped on. And like I said before, nobody with a brain cares about a stupid baseball game. Fidel is the same asshole today that he was yesterday, and a week ago Sukkot, and will be 10 weeks from now, et cetera, and so on, until they stick his bearded ass in the ground. We hate him like poison, okay? But this crap about, oh yeah, and it's always the same thing like the one before. Oh, Jew bastard, maricon. Oh, the same tired old crap. Get a new vocabulary. Get a new thought in your brain. Is it possible?
No.
Same old tired, like I said, like a stuck record, like a one-note pony. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello? Mobile in Miami. Okay, they waited 39 minutes and 31 seconds, and adios. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Probably Dr. Mark put him in a coma. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello?
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Did you see the story about Madeline Murray O'Hare this weekend?
Somebody just faxed it to me just this moment. You must be psychic.
That was me, actually.
Oh. Yeah, and what? I didn't read it yet.
They think she's been murdered.
Really?
Yeah, they think that her and the son and the granddaughter were all murdered.
Ex-employee probed in Texas case of missing atheist. They're investigating the former office manager for Madeline O'Hare for possible murder. David Waters, 52, was ordered held without bond by a federal magistrate Thursday after police found a stash of ammunition in his Austin apartment. Illegal because he's a felon. How do you like that?
Yeah, for all these years, people have been thinking they disappeared to avoid the IRS, and now it turns out they all may be dead.
Well, why would they be avoiding the IRS? Like she was a wealthy person or something?
Well,
I don't think so.
Apparently they had a stash of like $500,000 of gold coin.
Yeah. So what's that?
And people think they just took that money and ran off somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like this ex-con
Maybe he took the stash and ran off with it.
Yeah, after he did all three of them in.
And probably stashed them, right.
Oh, and talking about the Cuban people and how they don't have any guns. You know, this past week when all the Paraguayans were in the street protesting the assassination of the vice president,
yes,
I saw a lot of rocks being thrown. I didn't see they had any guns either, but they stayed out there and they kept protesting until the president resigned.
But let me say it again. He's been in power there for 40 years, and there are tremendous numbers of people there who've been brainwashed into communism and into thinking that their way of life is just fine and this is the way it's supposed to be, and he's a great guy, and that's the way it is. Whether the people here want to believe that or not, it's too bad.
Oh, no,
that's the way it works.
At this point, it's too late. I'm saying when it first started, if people had gone out in the streets just like the Paraguayans and everyone else has done,
well,
and they said, hey, we're not going to leave the streets.
Shows very clearly they turned tail and ran.
Right. I mean, they keep saying, oh, we were smart, we ran, we didn't have any guns, we ran. But no, a lot of people don't have guns.
But the fact is, let me say it again, for the 40 millionth time, it's 40 years later, we're tired of hearing about it already. Let's live the real world and stop living in this fantasy land of something that's going to happen that isn't going to happen, okay?
And in closing,
yes,
for the poor pothead who got busted with his nickel bag, just say no.
Okay. Whatever that means. 567-0560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. You know why people are getting busted for pot, don't you?
That's the American fucking way.
Right. Because we live in a goddamn country that isn't free, and this banana boat guy's called me for giving me a lecture on a Statue of Liberty. He wouldn't know where to find a Statue of Liberty if you stuck it in his rectum. That's right. Giving us a lecture about freedom. Don't be coming here and telling me what freedom's all about, Buster. Everybody's got a big mouth. Everybody, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? And as far as that thing with the Pope, I'm still waiting. Still waiting here. Well, how long ago? How many months ago? A year ago? Whatever the hell it was. It's got to be close to a year ago he was here with his dress. Everybody was quiet. Nobody had any nothing to say. Nothing to say. Well, it's embarrassing. We don't know whether to scream or eat Chiquita banana. And so they ate Chiquita banana instead. Here's a mobile in Naples. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes.
Listen, this fax that you received has really got me pissed off and fired up. They're telling you if you don't like it to go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
You see these sticks running all over town. Doesn't matter where they're from.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, Cuba. They got their little flags, their little bumper stickers all over their cars.
Yeah.
If their country's so great, what the hell are they doing here?
Good question. It's like people with I Love New York bumper stickers. If they love New York so much, what the hell are they doing down here?
You got it, pal.
Okay,
listen,
you got it.
I know you guys did the list the past week or so. How about a male working at a beauty supply shop?
Oh, have a great day.
Thanks, Neil.
Boy. We back on that fag thing again?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 9 minutes after 1. Well, you were talking to me before about all those old Cuban fags. They're unbelievable.
I didn't say old.
Well, yeah.
I just said Cuban fags.
Oh, but the old ones. Oh. In fact, you just can't say
no
to them because they don't take
no
for an answer. Hysterical, out of control. In fact, they're probably the guys that are drilling those holes there in Westland. And then the young guys come in, and unknowingly get caught up in them, so to speak. We have an open line somewhere out there in Radio Land, 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. I mean, if you got a power drill like that, a power tool, something that is the answer. I mean, how else would you start a glory hole but with your tool?
Oh, God, Neil.
You should get a nice piece of sausage there, Porky. Yeah, what are you going to do with it? Well, Butch, I'm going to make you squeal like a pig. Is it going to hurt, Doc? Because I hate pain. Ain't I a stinker? Oh, nice, Doc. You should have a funny mouth, Doc. But that's why they call me Porky. Oh, you rabbit hole.
Why are you airing shit like this?
115 at 560 WQM. We got a couple open lines on the board. Actually, the phones are working today. Let's hear it. George's phone is fixed. There you go. That's all we want. Now just leave us alone. Remember what I said about a month ago? That if they would just make everything work and just stay the hell out, pay the bills. Oh, here's another one, by the way. Those classy people that somebody on the station was raving about because he got some free tickets to a Stones concert. Rumor has it that they don't pay the phone bill over there, and the phone company's threatening to shut the phones down over there in Fort Myers on 770 WWCN or whatever that station is called, which nobody knows the call letters because it's a phantom radio station that we're on every day over there. And they happen to be the stations in the same building with the Beasleys over there, but there's no shame. So why should it come as any surprise that I got to write a check for $83 to keep from having our DirecTV service turned off here? People who don't pay their bills aren't worth a crap, okay? That's the way I look at life. I mean, I can understand people that don't have any money, that are desperate. Maybe they don't have any money. Maybe that's why they dress like that. 5670560. Well, see, Greg, he can trade out those suits. He can trade it out. And somebody in his family's got a lot of money anyway. 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's a mobile in Miami Lakes. Hello.
Neil,
Sure ain't him. Yes, sir.
Couple of quickies.
Go
Number
ahead.
one, if John Henry wants a dome stadium, I'm sure he could talk to his buddy Fidel to influence the people in his community to build one for
Why
him.
doesn't he let Fidel come over? He can be the general manager, and then all these old Cubans at Domino Park, they can go and take care of Fidel, and we'll kill two turds with one stone.
The Marlins suck. Send them down to Cuba. Let's get another team here.
Okay.
Also, I turned against the Cubans about 10 years ago when they were
What do you
having...
mean you turned against the Cubans? What does that
Let me
mean?
just say, I'm talking about the radical ones.
Yeah.
When they had that rally down at Bayfront Park, and they're having a peaceful pro-Castro or whatever, pro-normalization with Cuba rally.
Yeah.
And the antis showed up, picked up rocks with Xavier Suarez and eggs that were throwing them out there. It's like, if you don't agree with
Kind of
me,
like the super
I have the right
Orthodox
to
Jews
kill
are doing
you.
in Israel to the lesser Orthodox. Right, that's the way it is. That's what I'm telling you. Labeled people. People are professional Cubans, professional Jews, professional Muslims, professional fill in the blank, okay? Professional assholes. We don't need all these labels. Stop compartmentalizing yourself. These idiots that were calling the worst team this morning, I heard 3 or 4 of them. Well, I'm a Cuban American. I'm like, stop already. You're killing us with that bull crap, okay? We don't care. We're not interested. We're not impressed. We don't care whether you're a goddamn African American, Cuban American, Yidlach American. We don't care. It's a crock of crap. Grow up already. Get over it. Get over it. 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. And for that bitch, by the way, I'll wear whatever jacket I want to the hockey games and you'll like it, okay, sweetheart? And lose some weight before it's too late. Fatso. Here's North Miami. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to say that I don't care about the baseball game being played. I don't think that makes a difference.
Baseball game?
The baseball game and the effects politically it has on I think that's a crock of crap. But I really get ticked off when I hear someone like the guy who called before the break, and he says, why aren't the Cubans throwing rocks, and why are they always leaning on this government to help them, get rid of Castro? Because that really ticks me off because this government has been working behind the scenes since Kennedy to get rid of Castro. And you remember, you've read the same books about the Kennedy assassination. You know the links with the CIA and the mafia to try to oust Castro and how many failed attempts there were.
Right.
So and Commandos L and Alpha 66, these were all CIA.
Look what a great job we did giving to Saddam Hussein, huh?
Right.
That worked real good.
That's right. And all these guerrilla
Nice
groups
going, Mr. Booch.
that were formed and trained originally by the CIA. So these people have come to rely on this government as an underground way to try to kill him and try to get him out of this country. And they have this government had their own selfish reasons for it. Let's not kid ourselves.
See, I don't know of any other group of people in this country who are demanding that we get their country back for them. Most of the people are very grateful to be here.
That's right.
They get with the program, they speak the language, they assimilate, they become very proud Americans, and they don't keep browbeating us and the rest of the people who live in their community with, oh, you got to do this because we want to go back. Anybody wants to go back, take a plane, you can go to the Bahamas, and then you can fly over there anytime you want. Be my guest. Go to Canada, you can fly from there to Cuba every day of the week, no problem at all. Nobody's keeping you out. If it's so wonderful, go back, but we're interested in here and what we need, which is a lot, and we don't care about these things.
That's right. And that's
just like all these Jews that are always screaming about Israel. If they want to go over there and be surrounded by mortal enemies and have their kids blown up on school buses, let them go there, okay? I'm not the least bit interested in Israel or Cuba, either one.
Isn't that crazy? I heard so many people say that to me. That my first concern is Israel and then the United States.
If I could tell you how many people say, because they know I travel a lot, oh, have you been to Israel? And I say,
no.
What the hell do I want to go there for?
Right.
If I want to go where there's a lot of Jews, I can go to Sunrise. It's right up the road from my house.
Right. At the same
I
time,
to go to Israel. I can go to the Rascal House and see crazy old Jews.
At the same time, I don't want to be an isolationist. I'm aware of what's going on in the world, and I'm sympathetic to it. But don't, if you're going to talk blindly and not talk with what actually happens in the world, the experience of history, then don't talk at all.
Exactly.
Don't say the crap that these people say. It comes from bigotry and not from actual facts.
Right.
All right, Neil.
Okay, so God bless you. 121 at 560 WQM, the voice of sanity here on QAM, baby, between 10 and 2. The voice of sanity, the only one you'll ever hear in this goddamn country. All these people puking with their goddamn right-wing horse crap, with their thinly veiled fascism. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Weren't you talking about that before, thinly veiled? Those Middle Eastern women? That's the problem, man. You're thinly veiled, you're out. Here's Hialeah. Hello. What am I in the wrong? Oh, I didn't. Well, this is too far away. Okay, my fingers are getting old and arthritic. Hialeah. Hello.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
I'm the one who sent you that fax, and I'm not gay. Okay, you see, hombre, mean, macho, puro macho.
Yeah, culo macho. Yeah.
Puro macho.
Culo macho.
Puro, pure.
Puro. Yeah.
Yes.
And?
Hey, no, somebody say that I was faggot. I'm not faggot.
Who said you're a faggot?
Some asshole who called there.
Yeah.
Hey.
So who cares? You're Cuban, aren't you?
See?
Well, you're a faggot then. Maricon. That goes, see? That's you can't even keep a straight puss. Maricon.
Hey, adios, puta. Adios, puta.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
I love it. He's got a picture. He's not a maricon, but he draws me a big Cuban penis on here. We know it's not Cuban because it's circumcised. It's a Jewish penis. I recognize that anywhere. That was beautiful. God bless you, sir. Hasta que your meatus. Wow. That's the guy from A&M Beauty Supplies. Oh, he works in a beauty shop. Oh, he's not no maricon. How's your nails today, sweetie? 567-0560, pound 560 on the AO. We've had some choice ones today, baby. He was right up there with the guy with the Statue of Liberty stuck out of his ass. Here's a mobile in Coconut Creek. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay, sir.
I'd like to change the subject real quick if I could talk about the game a little bit last night.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, I'd like to say the last guy who called who was Ripon Wilson knows nothing about hockey because I think Wilson has done a great job since
the first game he played here, which the Ranger game, he was pretty shaky, and then each of the last two games he's gotten a little better every game. And Warner, by the way, is playing very well for Buffalo, so I think both teams will do okay with that trade.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Last night, though, it seemed like Chris Wells was getting way too much ice time for me.
Yes. It always does. It's funny you mentioned that because when I walked out of there, you look at most people here, because they don't know anything about the game, they don't realize how amazing it is that a team that's this mediocre, I'm talking about the Panthers, can even compete in games like that. Again, you look at all
against
the talent.
The Devils,
you look at the talent the Devils have. And when I saw Chris Wells facing off against Jason Arnott, it just made me, I didn't know whether to scream or cry. I mean, it's terrifying.
On the penalty kill. He starts him on the penalty kill.
And we still wind up with a tie thanks to Sean Burke.
Yeah. Oh, Sean Burke played incredible. But what blew my mind was...
It blew your mind?
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
Was they take a penalty. They're up 1-0.
Yeah.
They take a penalty. He starts Chris Wells on the penalty kill.
Right.
They get a goal. He starts the next line of Mueller, Worrell, and Laws.
Right.
After they tie it up 1-1, he starts the line that can't score at all.
Right.
Then they come off the ice and he puts Wells back on and they score again. What kind of coaching is that?
Terrible.
It's
just
unbelievable.
Like a coach who doesn't call a timeout in that Colorado game.
Oh,
at 5-0.
God,
and he
don't
stands
get me
there with his
started
arms
on
folded like
that.
he's in a coma. Yeah, he's useless.
That's unbelievable. 6 goals in one period, you don't call a timeout or pull the goalie?
No, he's clueless.
Unbelievable. All right, Neil, I just wanted to give you my 2 cents.
And the amazing part of it here, because Berets are not coming back this year, but the amazing part of it is Carolina is folding like an accordion. They blew a 3-1 lead yesterday against Tampa, of all teams, and we're only 5 points behind them with 2 games in hand.
I know, with 2 games in hand. Unbelievable.
This team might not only sneak into the playoffs, because
they might be a 3 seed.
They might actually have home ice advantage.
Yeah, they might be a 3 seed.
Unbelievable.
That's unreal.
Right.
All right, Neil.
God bless us, sir.
Take it easy.
See you. God bless Sean Burke. Okay, we got 400 open lines on the board. We've been smoking here since I kicked him in the ass early today, but now we're slowing down to a crawl. 567-0560. Just when I was starting to feel a little bit better about life, now they've abandoned me again. Oh, this crowd. This crowd. Today is the day, once and forever in your life, to open up a mouth and say something, okay, for the rest of us who speak English. Should they want to do it? No. And for those people, those Cubans out there who aren't part of this right-wing, fanatical, one-dimensional crap that just it's like beating a goddamn dead horse, man, with a whip. Just keep flagellating and flailing and beating, and not a goddamn thing is going to happen. Like that guy at that beauty supply, he's beating it right now.
You're looking for glory hole.
Okay, 1:30 at 560 WQM. Here's the star of Amsterdam and New York and L.A. and Pompano Beach, Al Goldstein.
Neil Rogers?
Yes, sir.
Neil Rogers, they have the biggest day of all next month. I'm flying to Amsterdam for 2 weeks. April 29th is Queen's Day.
I know that.
Are you going to be there when I'm there? Will you be there?
Yeah. Now when are you going there?
I'm going there April 28th. I'm going to stay for 2 weeks.
Right. Well, before you get there, we'll be warming up your apartment for you.
Well, I want you to. In fact, you can stay there with you, I, and Rose.
No, no, I'm not going to stay there with you, but we will steal all the pot you got laying around.
I have so much drugs. Oh,
that's what I hear.
Beautiful. And in fact, at High Times, I'm officially a judge in the cannabis contest for High Times next November 29th.
By the way, I got a great diet that's finally starting to work for me. You know what it is? And I can thank you for it. You remember that video you said of you and Ron Jeremy naked?
Yes.
Every time I start working up a little bit of an appetite, I pop that video into VCR and I start just gagging all over the place. It works like a charm. I haven't eaten in weeks.
Admit, aren't you like these little Puerto Rican Batista groupies who hate Fidel, who are bad losers? You're a sore loser because I won't put out for you.
You know, it's interesting.
So admit it.
It's interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't touch you with somebody else's hand. Listen. The Batista thing, the whole town, and you're so lucky. Where are you now? Where are you calling from?
Pompano, I'm at the pool.
Oh, you're here?
I'm here loving you.
Oh, so you hear all this crap that's going on today with all these right-wing people in Domino Park, all these Maricon, that's all they know from, man.
You know,
all these fags, all these Cuban fags.
I hate them. And unlike them, I can say something no one else can say. I was arrested. I spent 5 days in Morro Castle, by Fidel. I mean, it's not like I'm a Fidel lover, but compared to Batista, these people are happier. They all have health. They have education. They have schooling. Under Batista, all these lowlifes who came to Miami were very quiet. There was no middle class. They were the rich who
That's right.
exploited.
Absolutely right.
They are loathsome.
That's why they ran. That's why they turned ass and ran, because they were all of a sudden going to be out, and they ran like a bandito in the middle of the night.
Right. All these bomb throwers. F-U them. I hate them. You know what happened? They brought the same dictatorship under Batista they're trying to impose on us.
Right here in Dade County.
George is the only good spick.
And we're worried. We're concerned about him.
Anyway, you feeling better? I heard
I'm
your blood
feeling
sugar's
great.
down.
I'm doing sensational. And what are we going to do? I don't want to talk to you about it. You're hopeless.
No. My blood sugar's dropped from 195 to 175. I'm being so good because I'm so afraid I got to get
What do you mean 175? You mean in the morning it's 175?
Yeah.
Well, that's terrible.
Is it bad?
That's awful. It's like at least 80 points high.
Okay, I haven't had sugar in 5 weeks. Although what I hate knowing is that bread and pasta turn to sugar. Why is that?
Why is that? You'll have to ask the Lord why that is.
That's why I'm
You'll have to
atheist.
ask God why that is.
Why can't Haagen-Dazs
Because he works in mysterious ways. That's why everything that tastes good is bad for us, because God is an S&M God. You know that.
I know, but why can't Ben and Jerry's be good for me?
He keeps hanging it, dangling it in front of your face, and as soon as you, just like Eve with the apple and the pear on the ground, as soon as you partake of it, horrible things start happening.
You know something? You're not capable of dangling anything in front of my face.
That's for damn sure. Not anything you could see anyway.
Anyway, I want to send you.
I'm disappointed in you. I'm very, very disappointed in you. I would have thought of all the people in America that would have outed all the right-wing Republicans, it wouldn't have been Larry Flint, the poor guy in a wheelchair. You know, I would have thought it would have been Al Goldstein.
I had dinner with him last week.
Yeah, but how come you didn't do it?
Because I don't have the resources here. 4 marriages and an embezzlement. I'm pathetic. I'm really bad.
Yeah.
Could I mention the Screw website?
Yeah.
Thank you. We finally got it up after a year. You find the expression. www.screwmag1word.com. You can get Screw every week now, finally. For 30 years, I've been bottled up in New York, and now wide world web. I'm so excited about that, Neil.
Yeah.
Are you feeling
so
good?
You start spreading your perversion all over the world, which I say is great.
When are you at the track next?
Thursday night.
Okay, now I'll be in New York. Next week, I'm going to visit you at the track.
No, you won't, because next week we won't be in the dining room. We'll be on the 4th floor, and there's no room in our box. The dining room closes on the next week.
The hell with that, then.
Yeah.
Come to Holland when I'm there. It's going to be so wonderful.
I'm going to be there when you're there. What are you telling me? Like I don't know about Queen's Day?
Okay, but
all the Queens know about Queen's Day.
Yeah, let's start up with all the rest of Furians selling their drugs on the streets of Amsterdam. What a great city.
Now you know what I'm talking about.
I know. I hate them.
Don't you find that disgusting?
It's despicable. You know why? It's because
everybody else there is so nice and so friendly, and there's no overt, in the streets, and people are smoking a little weed, but nobody pays any attention. No. But the only ones are those Rasta guys. Go, crack man, it just bugs me,
I happen to agree with you, which I try not to, but I do.
It's no place is perfect, and that's the one thing in Amsterdam that just grates on my nerves.
Thursday morning.
But in your case, you smoke a little dope and you forget about it. You mellow out and don't worry about it.
I do. I get 5 inches larger. Okay.
You're up to 2 inches, huh?
I'm going to feed our boy dinner Wednesday night. Okay.
Who's
He'll
that?
come Thursday smiling.
Who, George?
George.
Boy, this guy gets more free meals. How about Fat Rich? Is he coming too?
I invite him, but he picks his nose after dinner. I don't like it.
Okay,
Neil, have a great day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
I'll see you.
Thank you.
See you in Amsterdam.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Wow. Okay, we got 400 open lines now. It's not going to bother me. I don't care. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. www.screwmag.com. There you go for those of you who want to see Screw Magazine with all the real stuff about the world. And if you want to read about the Pope, maybe we should ask him, does he have the back issues on there, like the one with the Pope? Yeah, the Pope was taking it up the rectum. Here's a mobile in Palm Beach. Hello. Mobile in Palm Beach. Okay, long gone. Here's Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
You know what the deal is with Michael Putz down to his knee.
And what is that?
The reason he is the way he is his wife no speak the English too good. His wife is a Juliet? Juliet, a Cuban Juliet.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, so he's a sucky suckhole.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought I'd add that in.
Okay, thanks for the news. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, 1,600 open lines, 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Well, let's do the fake voice on a mobile quickly. Hello. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
Hey, just calling to say, this time tomorrow we'll be in Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
Be thinking of you, so I'll be out of this town for a week. I'm pumped, I'm excited, and I need that fix. Just thought I'd call and rub it in a little, pal.
Okay.
And everybody here, have a good week.
It wasn't a fake voice, but it was weak. You're right.
Oh, it was fake with me.
Oh.
He changed.
567-0560. Well, as soon as I said fake voice on it, he's going to do something else. That's why I had no material. And pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line, 23 till 2 at QM. Jim Mandich for Hank coming up.
Rectum.
No. There we go, right next to it. At 2 o'clock from 2 to 6, the Mad Dog. And then we got Boog Shambi, 6-8-45. Instead of talking sports with Boog, okay, I don't want to, mess with anybody else's show. Call in and beg with him to lose some weight. Beg, plead. We're going to lose him. We're going to lose Boog Shambi at a very young age. This man, he has mushroomed up to jogging. He makes Al Goldstein look like Ichabod Crane on a bad day. That's how big the Boogster is getting. He's a monster in the sportscasting industry. And then 8:45, we got the NCAA men's basketball championship game, UConn and Duke.
Oh!
Could have been Michigan State because they had some real riots.
Liberty Parashuba. Liberty Parashuba.
The pub smokes dope.
Oh!
The pub smokes dope. God gave him the grand. The pub smokes dope. He likes to smoke it, man. The pub smokes dope. He's a groovy head. The pub smokes dope. The pub smokes dope. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Got his high on the ceiling, facing highest back.
Oh!
Wilson won't get stoned on grass, Jesus freaks out back. Oh! Jesus Christ, a super hippie, never shut up chunk. Wilson won't get stoned alone, preach in church your trunk. The pub smokes dope, God give him the grass. The pub smokes dope, he likes his fucking ass. The pub smokes dope, he's a groovy head. The pub smokes dope, the pub smokes dope. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Now taking Joe right up the hill, she puts a pail of water. She'll forget to take a pill, now she got in Georgia. Taking pills is not a joke for a groovy folk. Thurston talking deal took of marijuana smoke. The pub smokes dope, God gave him the grass. The pub smokes dope, he likes his fucking ass. The pub smokes dope, he's a groovy head. The pub smokes dope, the pub smokes dope. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The pub is getting higher. The pub is getting higher.
Oh!
The pub is getting higher. The pub is getting higher. The pub smokes dope. God gave him the grass. The pub smokes dope. He likes his fucking ass. The pub smokes dope. He's a groovy head. The pub smokes dope. The pub smokes dope. The pub smokes dope. The pub smokes dope. Cha-cha-cha. And now.
143 at 550 WQAM. I'll tell you one thing, boy. Are we going to make the last 17 minutes of this?
No.
No chance. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. And we had one call today about the difference between a baseball game yesterday between the pretty much anonymous around the world Baltimore Orioles and some Cuban national baseball team, and the Pope coming up there rubbing elbows in other parts with Fidel. Did we get one call about that?
No.
No. I'd like to know what the difference is. Well, I do see a great difference. In fact, I'd like to know why the difference in the reaction. It goes back to that same bullcrap that we were talking about before. Spineless, cowardly. You know, when you've been totally brainwashed and you're not supposed to speak out against this corrupt institution, talking about the Catholic Church. The Pope can do any goddamn thing he wants. Oh, it's the Holy Father, yeah. Right there on the stage, okay? Rubbing each other's parts together. That was a blessed event. Here's a mobile in North Miami. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm holding for Neil.
Speaking.
Neil, this is a landsman from upstate Glens Falls, New York.
Yes, sir.
Just thought I'd like to say hello and touch base with you and wish you a happy Pesach.
Uh-huh.
And good luck. I love to listen to your program. It's
okay, thank you, and God bless you, sir. Another guy with nothing to say. Have a happy whatever, sir. Get out of here. 5670560. What happened all of a sudden? I think it was Dr. Mark that put everybody in a coma. Good guy, but wow. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We got about 14 minutes to go. Can we make it?
No.
Can we do it?
No.
Here in the town of the Walking Dead.
No.
Here's a mobile in Perrine. Hello.
Hey, Uncle Neil.
Yes, sir.
A couple things. One, I got a brother who's doing the Atkins,
Yeah.
and he's dying to eat something sweet. What do you recommend?
Well, what does that mean? He's dying to eat something sweet.
Well, besides the cheesecake, is there anything else that you were having when you had a sweet tooth?
No.
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 Get rid.
Right.
Forget about eating something sweet. Okay. Tell him if he wants to stay alive, forget about sweet.
All right.
And I'm serious. Just hold up a picture of Al Goldstein. Say, do you want to look like this? Just say
No.
Just say no to sweet.
No.
Tell him I got something sweet for him. Okay.
All right. The other thing was, on the baseball game yesterday.
Yes.
I made an observation. Usually when you watch a Major League Baseball game, you always see the people in the stands having hot dogs or something to drink.
Right.
If you notice, there was no one in the stands that was even holding anything up to their mouth.
Oh, I thought they were eating Marconi and cheese.
All right, Uncle Neil.
Thanks for the good news, sir. Okay. Oh, well, that's because they were all very well behaved. It's, when you're dealing with dictators, they know how to orchestrate it very nicely. You heard what Al Goldstein said, by the way. He said Castro is a prince compared to Fulgencio Batista. That's what he said. And a comedy made about all those, the haves getting, of course, all the people that had the money, they ran like hell because they knew that their time was up. The jig was up, so to speak. Because they were like partners, like Hyman Roth and Michael Corleone. They were partners in crime, partners in a corrupt fascist dictatorship. That's what they were partners in. That's why you have such a great deal of difficulty convincing people what freedom of speech and freedoms are really all about here, because they never knew from it in the first place. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Good and you?
How are you?
Good and you?
I'm listening. And? Right. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Another asshole. Here's a mobile in West Palm Beach. Hello.
Hey, Uncle Neil. How you doing
Okay,
today?
sir.
We're
down to the assholes. We actually had a 3-hour and 15-minute show today. Now we're down to the dregs.
Well, I didn't get to call you after the hockey deadline trades, and I thought for sure with all your hockey insiders like the Rim Man, I would have been calling you to give you all the updates. What happened to him?
Meaning updates about what?
Well, all the insiders before the trade deadlines, who's going to be traded where and what's going on.
There was no big thing as far as we were concerned here. It was all I had the ESPN on right here. There was nothing to report.
Well,
hey, don't be knocking the Rimmer. He just bought me dinner and paid for it on Saturday, okay? So leave the Rim Man alone. 56705. This audience, man, I'll tell you, they can't keep it up. We need Viagra in this town. We need a talk show Viagra for this audience to keep it up for 4 hours. 3 hours and 20 minutes today. It's an improvement over recent days. Here's another fact about Castro this and Castro that, and they don't want to accept the fact that he's beloved by the people over there. He's got them very well brainwashed, and they think they got it great, and that's the way it works. Now, what is this? 770. We want to request Neil do a liner to help our listeners understand what the hell station they're listening to.
I told him to fax that over right after he told me about
you just ad-lib something like, this is Neil Rogers saying to all you assholes listening to me in Fort Myers and Naples that WQM in Southwest Florida is Sports Radio 770. This is Neil Rogers saying to all you assholes listening to me in Fort Myers and Naples that WQM in Southwest Florida is Sports Radio 770. And they're still cheap. And they still suck. And they don't pay the phone bill. And they still walk around looking like they just slept in a dumpster all night, the Beasleys. Yeah, this is a real classy operation. Boy, they don't pay the phone bill. They don't pay the cable bill. They don't pay George's $200. See, that's the thing that really grinds my ass. I can understand, they own way $2 million, whatever. Okay, times are tough. But when they owe people like $83 or like $200, what is that? Here's mobile in Hialeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, the listener was saying the other day about the gay people. I know you were saying about a couple of days ago.
Yes.
Can you tell me a profession that there's no gays in it? Because I don't know any of
them. Radio salespeople.
Radio sales, including yourself?
I'm talking about people that go out and sell advertising.
Oh, they're not gay?
I never met one in my life.
For real?
Over the weekend, I was trying to think about it. I racked my brain. I never thought of one gay sales guy. I
was thinking hard. I'm like, God, there's gays
everywhere.
What? I was thinking very hard.
On?
Yeah, I'm hard now, right now.
I'll bet.
Lunch. I get hard after I eat lunch. Hey, did you see Shawshank Redemption?
No.
You haven't seen it?
No.
It's great, man. I saw it yesterday. I heard somebody in your show recommend it.
I'm going to go watch it right now as soon as I get out of here.
Okay, great.
If it'll make me hard, I'll go see it. Okay, pal. Hasta que me olvides.